Yeah, she's doing.
Yep, I am. So, sorry, my iPad is just freezing weirdly. There, I can start. It is 6 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with roll call for those in the room.
Michael Cornelia.
Jim Moore.
Lynn Beer, and then those online.
Julie Fall.
Stephanie.
I am here. Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting unmuted.
Okay. Does anyone have, we have the cheat sheets for what I can say here. Yeah. Okay, so there's a one. If you don't have conflict of interest on the board, wants to declare for what we're talking about.
This is Jim Moore, no conflict.
Michael Cornelia, no.
Lynn Beer, no.
Julie Fall, no.
Stephanie Walsley, no.
No conflicts. Now we will open it up to general public input, limited to 20 minutes. Please state your name and address before speaking. In the event any individual or organization would like an item on the agenda for board consideration, please contact the staff the Thursday before the meeting. The president will ask for public comment on specific items that appear on the agenda after board discussion, staff input, and before board action. In general, responses to questions regarding the agenda item can be more efficiently answered if provided in advance to staff via the district manager. Does anyone in the room have any public comments?
In general,
Yeah, general.
we're on the agenda. Oh, okay. Hi.
Anyone online?
Don't see any.
Okay. Then we will move on to approving the agenda.
Are there any corrections? Thanks. So, nope. This is Michael. I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda, July 21st, 2026.
This is Lynn. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Okay. Now we'll move on to the approval of previous meeting minutes from June 16th.
This is Jim Moore. I'll make a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes for June 16, 2026.
This is Julie. I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 It's unanimous. Moving on to financial action, June 2026 disbursements of $195,227.39.
This is Jim Moore, treasurer. I'll make a motion to approve June 26 disbursements in the amount of $195,227.39.
This is Julie. I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Moving on to the review of Colorado Trust and Bank accounts.
Yeah, barring any questions, they're in the packet.
I have one question on in the packet, page 25. You see the redaction on my screen kind of looks like a lot of recent public documents lately. Is all of that redaction is routine, or is that?
I've redacted a lot of that because it does have account numbers and sensitive information I don't really want to share with the public.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, and it's the first time I've really noticed this, block of redactions, but thank you for explaining.
Any other board questions? Public comments for the financial statement? Okay, then we'll move on to, we don't, or sorry, financial statements. Oh, sorry, that was, well, those are different.
There's
Yeah.
two different things, so you have the overview of the Colorado Trust
Yeah.
bank accounts and then the actual financial statements that we get out of our billing software. Again, that is in the packet. If you have any questions, ask me in front of. If not, we can,
I don't have any.
Okay, so moving on to the audit, for 2025
Yeah.
presentation.
So, we have an audit presentation by, Ms. Lillian. Very thankful we were able to secure her at last minute. As you know, our previous auditor has passed away, and they were kind enough to take us on. So, without further ado, Lillian.
Great. I'm going to send a request to share. Okay. I'll go ahead and start with the board letter. So just a little bit about our firm. We're located in Avon. We have staff mostly in and around Avon or in Summit County, some in Denver. But we specialize kind of in the small mountain audit. So our focus tends to be on the balance sheet. So we spend about a week kind of combing through all of your cash accounts, going through them, the reconciling items in detail, making sure they make sense. We go through all your accounts payable. We check to make sure there's nothing that needs to be accrued. We review your fixed assets in detail and test to make sure that depreciation is correct. So we take a very detailed balance sheet approach, which tells us that your revenues and expenses are correct. Our firm has 4 partners and we have about 15 staff. So we rotate generally the staff that is available on your audit so that you get kind of a different viewpoint every year. So this is our board letter. If we have any issues, we would communicate it in the board letter. So it kind of goes through some standard language where it points out any significant estimates. It's primarily your pensions. The remaining estimates are fairly simple. We didn't have any difficulties with management in performing the audit. Everyone was extremely fast at responding to me, which is always a good sign. It means that you're prepared, you have the documents available and they're in order. And then kind of just if we have any recommendations for internal controls, they'd be reported here. We didn't have any. It's always a good sign to see that you have outside accounting counsel that provides you that kind of extra oversight that is apart from kind of the funds that are going in and out of the district. So that's always a good sign. Everything looked clean from our standpoint. Next year, there will be a new accounting standard. It will cause just slight differences in the management discussion and analysis, as well as kind of the budget to actual statements that are in the back. If you have a budget amendment, you have to explain why it changed in the back, but otherwise it's relatively minor. Move on to the financials here. I'll give you one moment. Zoom is always a little bit different. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'll move this back up to the front. So this is a standard audit opinion. It's called an unmodified opinion, which is basically a clean opinion. It basically states that everything in the financials is free of error or material misstatements. The management discussion analysis, the biggest thing here is the comparative is kind of nice on a very broad level. And then we'll move down to the financials. So the first page just offers some of the long-term liabilities. On a governmental view, I prefer to look more at your general fund page, which would be C4 and C3. Your unassigned fund balance is $457,000. As you can see, I generally compare this to expenditures, so about 30%, which is a healthy fund balance. And then your two proprietary funds, your unrestricted fund balance, 940,000 compared to total expenditures of 734,000. Again, just a regular healthy fund balance. There's always kind of an implied build for water, wastewater funds for capital projects. So this is, from our point of view, perfectly normal. Just a little bit of explanation in this net investment in capital assets. This is really the portion of your net position that is all capital assets less any outstanding debt. So the unrestricted is really your true fund, mostly true fund balance other than pension liabilities that is available to spend. So everything else is pretty standard and things you've seen. Any questions on the financial statements?
No.
Great. Well, I think I had a really great experience with your staff. They were responsive, like I said, prepared, and we had very little corrections, which is a good thing to see. That means that the information you're receiving during the year is not facing major adjustments when I come to look at everything. So.
Thank you for doing this so quickly. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been it's a good relationship, and I look forward to working with you. So.
Okay. Anything else, William?
That's it.
So we'll need a motion from the board to public comment or
Board comments.
Go ahead.
no, I'm saying board or public comment.
Okay. As treasurer, I honed in on one paragraph. Page 67, paragraph 2 under opinions. That's a glowing opinion coming from the auditor. This is a really glowing evaluation of how well the district staff have done in managing the audit. And in any audit I've been involved with, that's the management letter, and these kinds of opinions are where you go to find out where things really stand. So I've put a block around paragraph 2. It says, in our opinion, the financial statements are presented fairly, and it goes on to express a high degree of confidence in the quality of the work that's been done here. So my applause to the staff for an excellent job in 2025. As a board member, I couldn't ask for more.
Leslie and Shauna definitely were very well prepared for this year's audit.
I appreciate that as well, to everybody.
I'll say too, like I know the public doesn't see a lot of this. A couple of years ago when we came on, as far as my group that was elected, we were facing serious audit issues, serious financial issues. Like this leadership and this board has come a long way, and for this new company to take us in such short notice to continue to represent this community and to keep moving in this direction is a huge accomplishment. And I don't know, if you guys can go back in the minutes, like you'll see where we came from, because we've come a long way.
I just
For
want
those
to,
at home, page 67, paragraph 2. You can read that, read all the rest of it that you want, but of the roughly 100 pages devoted to the audit, that's the one that matters.
You're going to say something, Stephanie?
I just really want to support what everybody else has been saying. Corey, thanks for recognizing I was trying to chat. Yeah, I just really feel like we have an excellent staff. And as Michael said, the board itself has supported the staff to to get to where we are today, and it's been a group effort, and I kudos to everybody.
I'll add the exact same. Jeff, Corey, John, yeah, appreciate, again, quick pivot with the passing away of the last one. So
Yeah, I can say just coming on and being able to turn around the draft is always a really great sign for your district. That just you were prepared and all the material was there. It made it very easy. So
Extension we didn't need.
yep.
okay. Open to any public comments. You see a thumbs up and raised hand. So then do we need a motion to approve?
A motion to accept the audit as presented.
Maybe treasurer, I'll make the motion to accept the audit for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025 audit as presented.
This is Michael. I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. If Pat says unanimously, or is approved unanimously to accept it. So next we have staff reports, starting with the district manager.
Thanks, Lillian.
Thank you. Yep.
All right. All right. So budget season is officially here. I'm working on coordinating our first budget committee meeting so we can start going over some capital improvement projects and see where it's going to line out in our budget for FY27. As you all know, we're in a civil suit. I just found out today our case has been dismissed. So the plaintiff has 49 days to file with the Court of Appeals if he wants to appeal the court ruling. So he has till September 7th. So I'll keep the board apprised of that. We do have the final draft of our Trash Panda contracts. I'm just wrapping up reviewing it, and then I will send it off to our legal team to review that. And once he okays it, we'll have Jim sign it, or Julie if she's back by then. We have finally got our internet switched from what was it? Visionary to Starlink. Visionary could not fix the issue because where our antenna points to the radio is being blocked by trees on people's property, so didn't really have a choice. And then we had our audits done, and that's about all I really have on my update.
Okay.
Barring any questions.
Any questions?
Trash pad going good. What's that? Trash pad going good. Yes, we're looking at the 28th, 29th for them to come forward. It is prepped and ready to go. We were hoping it would get poured a little sooner, but the contractor we have's job has been extended. Which reminds me, we'll probably have a check for you guys to sign tomorrow for the deposit, so we can get the material bought.
What's the cure time before the pad can be loaded?
7 days.
That's not bad.
It could be sooner. It just depends on if weather cooperates and all that. But it's a foot thick pad, so it's gonna take some time to cure.
Yeah, and the weight of those rollers and stuff is tough.
Corey, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You were gonna have Daryl talk about the snow plow, and he's not here tonight.
I'm gonna cover that during his portion of the report.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any public comments, questions, Corey? Then moving on to Director of Administration.
All right. So the administration staff participated in the movie night in June. That went well. We had a really good turnout to the first and the second movie. Did have to be canceled, but the third went well as well. The wind did pick up, so we didn't get to finish the movie, but the turnout was good. We've continued file retention, focusing on property files. Bob and I attended a leadership training in June. We also attended a Zoom demo with the new Cassell customer portal and payment platform. That was interesting. We'll see where we go from here. Barbara attended the Special District Association regional workshop for the first time. She learned a lot of valuable information that she didn't previously know. That's a good insight to things. Also completed work with Doc Access on the website with the older versions of PDF showing. Those are now current, and everything is remediating as soon as we load it to the website. So no more lag time. It was a simple fix once they figured out what was going on. So everything is remediated and is remediating as soon as it's loaded. We're up to 341 subscribers to the notification system. 551 auto pay customers. This month we sent out 58 friendly reminders, 14 shutoffs, and collected on 12. 2 did have to be shut off. And we mailed out 750 utility bills this month. And that's all for me, unless I have any questions. Yes, sir.
What is your estimate of the difference in cost for someone who's on auto pay and not having to get a paper bill? So how would you roughly estimate that?
So we pay 49 cents for every postcard bill that goes out. So the more people that pay auto pay, we save in postage. The difference between postage and what we pay to process a bill online is about a 20-cent difference. So online savings is about 20 cents for the district to send a card or pay online. So
not worth investing a ton of money in marketing.
The only thing that it saves, I think, the biggest thing that it saves, I will say, is headache for people getting frustrated for the post office not getting bills out in a timely manner. Unfortunately, once I drop them off at the post office, it's completely out of my control. I can tell you that we get multiple phone calls a month saying they did not receive their bill. And that's frustrating because, like I said, Bob and I are doing what we need to do to get them out in a timely fashion into the post office. They just don't always find their way to you guys. So that will encourage you, even if you're not going to pay online, to at least sign up for the customer portal where you can view your bills as soon as Barb and I get them loaded. And that always happens on the first of the month, unless the first is a Saturday or a Sunday, and then it's the first business day after the first of the month. So, and it is completely free to use the customer portal. And that's available to you if you never, ever make an online payment. It shows you water history. It shows a graph of your water usage, all of those sorts of things. You can print copies of your bills, all of those things. So even if you're never going to pay online, it's really great to sign up for that customer portal to be able to view your information.
For auto pay.
Yes.
You send it out to me because I don't do auto pay, but I pay when you send it.
Yes.
So
And
convenient.
Mm-hmm.
it's even worse if there's an election going on because election mail gets priority over everything.
Yeah.
is there anything we can do to help? We discuss things like social media and stuff, and I'd be happy to occasionally drop something, but I don't want to overreach.
I would say just to remind people that you're coming in contact with about the customer portal, and the customer portal and the notification system are two separate systems. So you have to sign up for both of those things to either get your bill paperless, or to use that customer portal and to get the notifications. Those are two separate things. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from people lately that they're having trouble navigating the signing up for notifications. And if that's the case, tell them to call me, and I can walk them through it, or sign them up from my end of things. I don't want people to get discouraged and just not do it when we can help problem solve some of those things.
What are some of the issues that people are having as far as trying to find it? Could we make it better online?
It's not so much the trying to find it as they don't realize that they have to go through there and kind of make a profile with the notifications. So I think people are getting discouraged because they're like, no, I don't sign up with this. Do I have to put this information in? And unfortunately, you do have to put that information in. I even have to put it on my end to sign people up. So there's less than a minute to answer the 3 questions that are on there. So
okay.
Any public comments or questions, Roshana?
I'm curious on credit card processing fees. Why we don't pass that cost?
We did for a little bit, and we were getting people, they weren't paying with credit cards. They wouldn't want to pay with credit cards. The district, if we absorb the fees, we get it at a better rate than if we were passing it along to you guys. So it was a decision made a few years ago to absorb the cost.
I signed the checks, and I can tell you their merchant services fees are eye-poppingly low. It's just like I've never seen anything like it. It's not even 1%, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's very, very low fee. So trying to collect that would probably not work. But I do a lot of work with nonprofits, and they will get people to make that as additional donation. It's not worth the trouble here. It's a trivial amount of money.
Any others? Okay.
Something.
Director of Roads.
Yep, Daryl will not be here today. He's traveling today for his 3rd SDA Leadership Academy course. So his report's in the packet. I am going to touch on the snowplow. It's been backlog of parts that we're waiting on. The final parts we are waiting on right now. Find it. Our set of valves from Force. They were expecting it to be delivered on the 17th of July, and they're hoping to have the truck completed by mid-August, no later than the end of August. The person that's facilitating the purchase of this truck is currently now doing weekly check-ins, because Daryl and I have complained enough about why we don't have our truck that we ordered almost a little over a year ago. At this point, it does not make sense for us to cancel the order, especially if it's done next month. Essentially, I have a feeling we'll be waiting another year to get it built. Daryl is looking at different options for plow trucks that has like the arm on the trash trucks that pick up the dumpsters. where we can hook up different attachments to where there's a dump bed, a water tanker, or something like that. So, and we're not going through these guys again.
So Corey, this is Julie. Is that in writing that they will be delivered to us by July?
Yes. Yes, it is. Well, August, not July. August, end of August. Mid-August, no later than the end of August.
The end of August.
And it
Yeah,
is in writing.
I appreciate you guys are, being diligent, but this is really, really a long time, and I know that you are aware of it, and I'm really frustrated with this company. It's almost like just tell them we don't want it, and we haven't signed anything with them, we haven't paid anything. If they don't deliver it by August, we need to tank it with them, I think. In my opinion, I don't know about anybody else. Because we ordered this in March of 2024. We didn't get it delivered, or May of 2024.
We ordered it in 2025.
2025. Yeah, so it's over a year. It's mind-boggling to me. And did we not have anything written in a proposal of a delivery date or anything like that?
I would have to go back and look at the proposal. I don't remember what it says, Julie.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Corey, is some of this due to the tariffs and just all the stuff that's changed around, like just getting parts from point A to point B?
So some of it's tariff, some of it's supply and demand. Trying to get copper setters has been a nightmare as well. It's
Okay.
these fittings are made of brass and copper, and it's
A little bit
more than one thing that's prolonged this, to be honest.
Okay. I'm just trying to think ahead, like if we end up canceling it, we may be in the same situation with another vendor.
And that's what I fear, unless they have one built and sitting out on a show floor that we could purchase.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the additional information.
Any public comments, questions for Corey Tutero?
I did want to just point out in Daryl's report, they did change all the light bulbs at the mail stop, Michael. So they got that handled as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Corey, he does have one bullet point in there, kind of in the center. It says, had one guy assist water department with leak on repair. Was this a resident?
No, it was a district leak. And with Mark's crew being kind of short-staffed, Daryl will allocate some of his crew to assist in water leaks that are on the district side that need to be fixed.
Oh, okay. Maybe he could be a little more specific next time as to where this guy is coming from. Just so it's clear.
I will relay that.
Thank you.
No other public comments?
Carrie got his hand raised.
Oh, Carrie? You're muted.
Okay. So I'd like to go. I had my hand raised a couple of times during Shauna's explanation of billing. And I love express bill pay. I can go in there, pay my bill. I can download the bill. I have 30 years and 4 months worth of bills, either paper or electronic. But I think if the only way to get off of getting a paper bill sent to us is with auto pay, is something that I'm not willing to do. I mean, I pay my bill every month on time, but I don't need a paper bill sent in the mail. So maybe there's another way around that.
Like digital?
Here, you can sign up for paperless billing and not sign up for auto bill pay.
Okay, and if I signed up for paperless, then I would not get a paper bill.
Exactly.
Okay, I will do that immediately. Thank you.
And it should just be one toggle in your dashboard that you have to click on, Carrie.
Done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Paperless. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So moving on to the Director of Water and Wastewater. With the June, our numbers have indeed reached into the summer realm for production of drinking water. We're over the 5 million gallons per month, probably heading towards 6. We did have one of our workers that had injured himself has back now on light duty restrictions, and hopefully to be fully functioning at all levels here pretty quickly. His surgeon has given me okay, but he still needs to get the workman's comp. He's found that out. We've had, in my opinion, kind of an interesting month last month, and it seems to be continuing this month with leaks, various leaks, not only with the district side of things, but with residents' service lines. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it seems like there's quite a few leaks. We've been doing lots of leak investigations, and I don't know what to think about it. I just know that there seems to be a lot of them happening. Don't know why. Sometimes it happens in the spring and fall because the ground moves, but we're sort of kind of in an area of time where it shouldn't be moving. So scratching my head on that one a little bit. You'll notice on here that I'm going to have to resubmit the CCR and repost the CCR. There was a mistake made by me when I was trying to add some data for PFAS samples, and it inadvertently made the nitrate sample box disappear. That's going to be a violation next year, just so you know. It's a clerical violation. We're going to resubmit that, and then that violation will be no longer in force. But you'll probably see it next year, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember talking about that at that meeting. We had quite a few things happen where we responded after hours this last month as well, from some things down at the wastewater treatment plant, and power outages that were happening. So yeah, it's just been kind of an interesting month last month, and it has continued into this month with those kind of things happening. Let's see here. Did attend the same leadership meeting that Shauna spoke of, and we did get the alternator fixed over at the River Ranch lift station, which is it's a very old lift station. It's actually kind of hard to get parts for it, and that was one part that was pieced together by Browns Hill, who is our automation engineering company, because we couldn't find that part anymore. So they came up with a solution with some parts and stuff that they had. So now we're back to alternating pumps the way that we want and having that redundancy that we need in those kinds of stations. One of those fails, you want that other pump to kick on, because otherwise things get very interesting.
We did have one SSO, which is a sanitary sewer overflow. And what happened there was a root ball that came down a line and plugged it. And it filled up the main, and then it filled up one of the manholes, came out the top of the manhole like you see in movies. It didn't blow it off like you see in movies, but it did come out. So that was reported to the state as required. And I kind of foresee the forecast with a high usage for the first part of this month, but with what we're getting now, we'll see. As far as production of potable water for July. So
for irrigation, a lot of it is for irrigation.
Not for us. It's
no, for homeowners.
Yes, sir. Yeah. If you were to look back at some of the updates that I've had, you'll see in January where we're down to like 2.5 million a month, something like that. And then in the summer, sometimes we'll get up to 6 million, and that most of that goes out onto, plants and grass and that kind of thing. So, yeah, irrigation. Anybody have any questions?
I do, Mark. Could you elaborate a little bit on the 40-year outlook needs assessment? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's an effort to put together what we're looking at needing to happen in the next 40 years. And we have some pipes that have been in the ground for, over 50 years at this point. And it's an effort to get a handle on what, it's not going to be popular, but get a handle on what our rates are going to need to be to actually cover what is going to need to take place in the next, I would say, loan cycle. And you can't get a loan without having these kinds of documents stating how you're going to pay for it, estimating what the cost is going to be, and then figuring out a solution on how to get that money. And it's a big deal. Almost every municipality and or subdivision, special district, at some point runs into a time where there's no more chance to kick the can down the road. And so what we want to avoid is being on a compliance schedule with the CDPHE. So we're trying to get this in place so we can get a handle on it. Corey's built us a pretty large spreadsheet that's going to be scary to look at probably. And we're filling in the nooks and crannies with things that are going to need to be done. And that's kind of the long and the short of it, Julie. So that's what that is about.
So is it like a parts listing, an estimation of funds needed, that kind of stuff?
It's the capital improvement plan where I was explaining where, 2028, we need to do this, and that, and it's going to be this much for capital improvement projects. Year 2030, we need to do this, and this, and it's going to be this much for that year.
Okay.
Repair and replacement will play a big part of that because, as I said, many of the pipes have been in the ground for a long time, and it's about $300 or so a foot to replace one of those. So if you have 27 miles of pipe in the ground, you can imagine what that might cost.
Yeah.
And that's
so Corey, do you have, I'm just thinking, so you put out like 27 roads of pipe, and then do you have a calculation that like increases it per year for cost adjustments and stuff like that?
Right now, I have a 15% contingency built into it. I don't have a contingency built into it per year. It's just one flat 15% contingency.
Julie, this would be what you would consider the initial bite out of the elephant to
Yeah.
get a handle on where we need to go with our rates. Okay.
Right.
And then be able to prove it.
Yeah.
This is one of the pieces that we were missing to actually have a firm come in and do a rate study.
Can you say that one more time, please?
This is one of the pieces that we're missing in order for us to have a pretty accurate rate study done.
Okay. Thank you.
And I have a question on that too. So, are all the increased rates that we've implemented over the last several years making any sort of dent in this shortfall?
You talking about the shortfall of not having this plan, or like the shortfall of like the sewer fund being in the red?
Well, I mean, our our rates have gone up for water. I'm not just talking about this rates going up for sewer, but rates have already gone up for water. And
The rates, our current rates right now were based off the old rate study, I believe that was done in 2020. So the projects that were slated in the old master plan, these rates should be sufficient to cover that. That master plan is now outdated, and then we need to get a new master plan, and it's going to identify new projects. So I can't say for certain our current rates right now are going to cover the cost of these capital improvement projects
okay,
without having the rate study done.
okay, so we'll see the real issues after the next rate study, it sounds like.
Yep. So we need to get the new master plan updated and finish this, getting all the numbers inputted into the spreadsheet, and then we can move forward with the rate study.
If I'm remembering correctly from past discussions on this, the deprecation and replacement of our lines wasn't factored in previously, correct? For the capital replacement stuff, whereas you're doing it now. So they're, yeah. So we're adding a whole new column that we should have been doing, but it's good we're doing it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you, I know you said time is kind of, early or, spring and fall, you're seeing repairs at kind of an odd time of the year. Are you noticing trends as to what is failing? Are you noticing anything kind of repeating itself, or is like with our ground, it just varies?
We're seeing with regards to service lines and stuff, particularly on the resident side, it's generally not very far away from the meter pit, and it's something that, like a rock, the bedding was not well done. And I think what's happening with some of that stuff is we've reached, some of the houses that have been built now for 20 years, that particular service line has been fighting that rock for 20 years now. Yeah. And the rock obviously will win in the end. So there's some of that. We're seeing some failures with some of our brass fittings, more so on our side of things. Once again, usually with age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Any public questions or comments for Mark? moving on to old business discussion board action. First up is the decision to sell or keep the district property.
So, over the past few meetings, we've been discussing selling of district property. It was requested at the last board meeting that, the board kind of think about it and then come back to this meeting with, some questions and discussions and make a final decision on whether to sell the 3 lots that could be sold as is right now or not, and the 2 lots that could potentially be sold to the neighboring properties, because you really can't build on those 2 properties. So I don't know where you guys want to go from here. Board wants to have a discussion on it or not.
I'll go ahead. I think the 3 properties, in my opinion, need to be sold individually or conjoined. And the 2 on the Alpine and Reception number could go up if the residents wanted to purchase that, or somebody just wanted to purchase a piece of land. I don't see any reason why we need to keep property in Forest Lakes that is not used as community property. So I have come to the board meeting as requested with some real estate names.
Why don't we hold that portion, I think, until, should we make a decision before going into that?
I would say the board needs to have their discussion and let the public speak, and then the board make the decision on whether to sell these properties or not. And if the board chooses to sell the properties, then I'll take down a list of realtors that you want me to get contact for, then interview.
Yeah.
I have one concern, and I'll put that in the context that I don't have a great deal of resistance to selling. I'm concerned that we've had at least one neighbor not interested in buying express concern over one of the potential buyers' declaration of intent to use it as a go-kart track or the equivalent, using it for ATVs and side-by-sides and so on, which creates a nuisance, a significant nuisance. Living next to that, noise and dust might leave us in a position where we're arbitrating disputes between neighbors over stuff we're not dealing with now. And so, this has been gnawing at me since I first heard it. And then another neighbor said, I want no part of that going on next to me. So I raised that as one fairly significant concern about doing this, and add that our current property layout isn't really amenable to that kind of recreation activity on individual parcels or combined parcels. I don't think we need that brain damage. So if we're going to do that, if we're going to sell, I think we really need to put deed restrictions on the properties that are sold to prevent that kind of behavior in what amounts to a neighborhood.
Who enforces that?
Well, I don't know.
Are you done?
Yeah, I am done. Thank you.
So my opinion is that any space that we have next to or abutting up to potential green space, I think should be added to that green space. I think we don't know what a future use of that property to the district may be, I feel there may be some value to this property as the district holding on to it. I think when you do sell, and this goes to yours, is you don't control it. And when a property sells, that new owner can do what they want with that property. And that is, as long as it falls, La Plata County, as long as it falls within usage under La Plata County guidelines, we don't control it anymore if we do sell it. So that green space has that buffer zone built in to landowners, to the district, to current property owners that are outside of the district, right? That other offset property.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we just don't know what a future board or a future district may be needing in that property, and you don't control it once it leaves property hands.
And to Jim's point, I don't think you can deed restrict the property to not allow somebody to operate ATVs on their land.
Right,
I think you can deed restrict it to they can only sell it for so much or something along those lines, but I don't think you can deed restrict the property for you not to have ATVs on your property.
right.
It's just like the covenants that, under the POA, we had, had covenants, and those don't have any teeth. They don't apply as long as they fall under La Plata County land usage. They can do what they want. And I don't, this is just me as a landowner and a homeowner in the district. We unfortunately had to buy a piece of property when everything was, all these empty properties were going up for sale to prevent something from being built in our sight line. It's not something we wanted to do. It's something my wife felt we had to do. I don't want this property butted up in a green space just going to any, purchaser that could do something that could, adversely affect landowners in that area. So that's my opinion.
I can go next. I guess my initial thoughts, and I think the usage of what was green space, and before that, it was the hotel, correct?
Yeah.
Way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of acquired it through the dissolving of the HOA. We're not really sure, but that property was commercial at one time. I don't think it should be. I think it agreed needs to be, if it's not zoned as residential, I think that should be a piece, but I'm assuming it is.
I'm pretty sure it is.
So yeah, as long as we can confirm that, to me, there's a weighing of what's the negative to the community versus the positive to the community of the different properties. And we talked earlier about the writing's on the wall in terms of we're gonna have some rate increases to do some of the projects that we know are coming that we can't not do, such as like the dam repair, so that the lower part of Unit 4 isn't flooded by it. If there was a catastrophic failure, which is, we're on a somewhat timeline to do that within safe timings. And to me, the property was sold at one time. Again, there's a hotel there. So it seems like the benefit to the community is larger in selling the lands that we don't have any known use for it or future use for it, especially when we just bought, 160 acres of green space, and he's added that. So I struggle to see what the value is of that extra green space that benefits very few. But that's my thoughts.
So you're for selling. Is that your bottom line?
So the board is still talking.
Yeah.
I have a question.
If I could have a moment to speak, everybody else has spoken. I haven't
Sure.
had a
Yeah.
time, so is
Yeah.
that okay?
Oh,
Thanks.
yeah.
I appreciate that. I just want to kind of, touch on some things that other folks have said. As far as, I agree that we can't deed restrict what happens on these properties. And, the fact is, from the point it gets sold, it could change vastly what people do out there. And I'm also aware of the what Jim talked about having, one of a potential buyer wanting to be able to have their kids riding their motorcycles and ATVs out there. And I really would hate to see something like that happen. But once this property is out of our hands, we cannot control those sort of behaviors happening. People could have their cows out there, creating all sorts of smelliness possibly. I mean, there's all sorts of uses that I think we would not want to have if the properties are sold. Um, I also want to talk about that there was a hotel there, but I don't know if that hotel was actually a part of Forest Lakes at the time. Um, do, and I don't know if there's any way for us to research that, but um, so I don't know if it was private property at that time or if it was just part of Forest Lakes and operated by somebody along, because that was there when the ski hill was also operating. So that might be worth looking into. Um, and I just also wanted, talk about that buffers are important to our community. I think that was one, in addition to having an emergency egress when a prior board purchased the 160 acres on the east side of our subdivision. I think that was part of that is a twofold thing, having emergency egress and having more of an open space. Granted, it wasn't dedicated as such until last meeting, but I think having these buffers in our community are important. And I'd also like to touch on the fact that, past boards made it clear that they viewed all of these areas as greenbelt and could not be sold. And I think we need to take that. I realize rules can change with boards, administrations, whatnot, but I do think we need to take that into a serious consideration when making this decision. Um, they had some wisdom that we maybe aren't considering at this time. And so I just like us to keep that in mind. Sorry, I'm just kind of blabbing through my notes here. Just bear with me. Um, I'd also want to ask a little question about Lynn mentioned the validity of, having an extra sum of money in the bank to help pay for some of the special projects that we have out there. And I'm just wondering if we sell these properties for the crazy exorbitant amount of, I think one meeting it was something like $300,000, which I don't know that we could actually do that. But assuming we could sell these properties for $300,000, would we still be in a situation where we still have to increase rates to cover our special projects that need to happen? And I think I've gone through my list there, so I'll stop blabbing now and turn it back over to Julie.
Thank you. Yeah, other things to consider, which we've all talked about, is exactly what you just said, Stephanie, is things that around the neighborhood are failing. And there's no real good concrete reason why we need to keep property on things that may have been hearsay of what somebody had said about another neighbor. We need to, in my opinion, get rid of those properties so we have that money. That dam, if we don't take care of that dam and we don't have the money to have the Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, but there has to be a certain amount that we have in funds in order to get even a loan to take care of that. Sorry, you're cutting out.
It depends on what type of loan or grant we go for. Most grants require some type of match. Loans, we have to have the ability to prove, which we do have the ability to prove, of being able to pay it back.
Right. So we need funds to do many, many things around this neighborhood. And if people don't want, I understand what you just said, Stephanie, about would that cover rates? I kind of doubt it, because some of these things that we have to do around here and people are waiting for infrastructure, we can't do because we don't have the funds. So why would the district keep 2 pieces of property or 3 pieces of property because of past HOA? And there is a bit of a, in my opinion, a bit of a conflict with some of the past board decisions, because that resident was on the board at the time to make that decision behind that property that is owned by that board member, previous board member. So I understand that everybody doesn't want to have anybody else build next to them, but we don't know what's going to happen. And if those properties are sold, we don't know that the residents right next to the property could purchase it. We don't know if they have the funds. I mean, it's all kind of up in the air, really, for us to try and decide what kind of people could purchase that property.
And Julia, I want to make a clarification here. It wasn't Forest Lakes Metropolitan District Board members that designated those lots as greenbelt space. That was done by the covenants enacted by the POA that was existing when Forest Lakes was being developed.
And that was required.
Correct. And and that's an adjacent to the property of that person that was on HOA, also on the board. So I'm just concerned that we're getting caught up in politics rather than the business needs of Forest Lakes.
My main other question I had, I guess, was I'm assuming over the years we've owned property there. I mean, the develop at one time it would have been, I guess, the developers, but we've sold off property before that we've owned. There's a lot of lots that are for sale in the neighborhood. The selling of individual lots,
The district has not sold property. The Southwest Properties and the developer, the one that was selling all the properties.
okay.
Now, we did give up a chunk of land for the fire station so they can take over and do the firefighter stuff versus the district doing it. Paul?
Thank goodness. Just saying.
So to also put it to perspective, we're talking about several people have opinions not to sell. And what if the board next year says, well, I want to put a big park in there? Are the residents going to want that park? I mean, we can't really decide what's going to happen to that. And just because the board here is not, some of them do not want to sell, doesn't mean that something's not going to happen to that property in the future that is not going to be agreeable to the residents right there. You know, there's a lot of people that purchase property and then they put transfer containers or whatever you want to call them on there. We can't control that. That's just the way a neighborhood is, especially when we can't enforce anything. But in my opinion, we need the money for projects, and we don't have that kind of money. And in order to get some of these things done, if this doesn't sell, if they don't sell, we don't sell them, we are going to probably be in a different situation of rates. Because there's a lot around here. We have to look at the water lines we can't put in because we don't have any money. It's how much, Corey? 150,000 plus? And we can't do that. And residents are pressing Corey constantly. I want my water. I want water up here. I purchased land and I can't get water. Well, we can't afford it. We need to look at the business, which is Forest Lakes, in my opinion. Our failing sewer. Go ahead.
No, for me, this is like a very limited golden goose. This isn't going to solve any of the problems. And I was elected as a board member to represent the community members during the allotted time that I have to serve. And, you know, I've talked to community members myself outside of board meetings. And I feel like that's what I'm trying to do best. It's not trying to solve all the district's, you know, lingering issues, this cloud over our head with these properties, because it's not going to happen. We're always going to have issues. Like Mark said, we're facing more issues every day, and we're going to face issues moving forward that we've never seen before. And if we hold on to these properties, we don't know future value, what they may do for the district or not do. So I'm representing the community, I feel, the best way I can. Green space, a couple of these properties butt right up against it. They're a buffer, and that's the way I see it. I don't know the potential benefit in the future. We have the property now. If we get rid of it, there is no benefit, and we don't control that land. So
I would like to respond to a couple. So first, I talked to a number of residents as well about and asked them what are their thoughts. The general response was, is it being used for anything? Is it going to be used for anything? How can the community, like, what is the value to the community? And they didn't ask, I guess, about the future state stuff. It was more, is there any intended purpose? Is there any use right now? And I think the answer to that for these properties is a no. So, and like it being a green space in itself in a buffer zone, to me, I think we have a fiscal responsibility, I guess, to our residents. And to me, that's a important thing we have to hold up as well to them. Agreed, it's not going to fix all the problems, but if it reduces the burden some, and there is a tax implication, if we do sell them, we're now, instead of there being no tax revenue generated from those properties, we now get the mill levy tax value, like, for us. So it's not just a one-time thing, it's a multi-time thing. And again, like, unless there's a known use now or in the future, I think we have a fiscal responsibility to the citizens to proceed. So
I think those citizens, if they see this 11 Alpine Forest Drive sell, would
that one, I don't think is one we're talking. I would say we're top 30, but there's the three. I specifically said the three. So the 510, 182, and 188. I think I agree. The Alpine Forest Drive, it's landlocked.
But then again, like, if we're gonna sell, put them all up, and then, yeah, I'm just saying that we. Yeah, I guess I would stay in my position.
May I make a suggestion? after Jim makes his comment, open it up so you guys can hear what the public has, and you guys can go back into some more discussion.
Sounds good.
And Corey, before you do that, can I just say one more thing, please?
I think Jim was going to say something, Stephanie, and then
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Couple of points to get to the real point. When I floated the concern about neighbor behavior with ATVs and stuff, the reaction was pretty limited. In other words, there wasn't much reinforcement for trying to restrict that behavior. So I'm going to withdraw that. And I will raise one caveat. We keep talking about this money as if it will be earmarked. And I think it's fair to say if that's the nature of the conversation, we damn well ought to earmark it. And with that, I will, declare affirmatively that I think we can sell.
Yeah, I would agree. Earmarking would be important. Good. So Stephanie, and then we'll move on to the public comments.
Okay, thank you. I feel like this is kind of a big deal to be selling Forest Lakes properties, which, basically everybody that lives in Forest Lakes are kind of partial owners of these properties by the fact that they are the residents of Forest Lakes. And I just think maybe this should be put up to a vote in the community wide, so that everybody has an opportunity, and maybe we can put out pros and cons for both, supporting it, excuse me, supporting and um, opposing the sale of the lands. And I would just like to put that out to the rest of the board that maybe we should have the community voting on this rather than just all of us making this decision.
Can you put some shape to that? Are we talking about a ballot measure kind of thing?
That is what I mean by allowing everybody that is a property owner to cast a vote.
Thank you. What are the financial implications of that? I don't know what
I don't have an idea of what that would cost. This honestly would be my first ballot measure.
So we don't have anything where we can't like piggyback this with something else we were already planning to do in the.
Oh, we do have an election in May. So,
May.
Yes, sir, May of 2027.
So
would that be
I would have
suitable?
I would have to honestly reach out to the clerk and recorder's office and see what's all entailed.
I can tell you that we have to send out an informational packet of ballot measures, kind of explaining the whole measure in whole.
The pros, cons.
Yes, that would be an extra expense that we wouldn't normally have in a regular election. And if we did a coordinated election with the county, that would cost us.
That would cost a lot.
So, in which a coordinated election is kind of when you get the biggest turnout because people are voting for county-wide decisions, which generally we would have a bigger turnout. We know that not even half of our residents vote in a normal election, so there would be a cost to either one. I can't speak to the exact price, but there would be more of a cost than what we would set for a normal election.
Opinion is if people don't care, they don't care.
Exactly.
And if you're not going to vote on board members for the district, you don't care enough to vote on this.
Exactly.
It might even increase participation. But Stephanie, does this does this meet with the suggestion you made? Does this make sense as a timeline?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in my opinion, it's like uh, I don't know that that we have a specific timeline. So from in my opinion, yeah, it would be a reasonable timeline to give all of our residents an opportunity to have their voices heard. And I totally hear what you're saying about the lack of participation in our community. It would be wonderful if we had greater participation.
Kind of like that idea.
Open up for public comments and then the board can follow it up. Had your hand up a lot. Say your name and address.
It's not hearsay, Jim. The adjacent resident said that's his intent.
Excuse me, can you give her a microphone?
You pass that around as needed.
I'm just correcting Jim. It is not hearsay. The adjacent resident said that is his intent, is to make it a go-kart, dirt bike thing. So that is straight from his mouth. It's not hearsay.
Next.
You also have Galaxy S24 Ultra that raised your hand.
So my name's Debbie, 41 Little Bear Lane. You people amaze me how ignorant. You guys are supposed to represent us. You say, Julie, oh, I'd like to bring her neck. Sell. It's all about money. It's not about money. We bought here because it was forced. We bought here because it was our space, and you people have taken it away. Bit by bit, you guys make decisions, and it's on your webpage that you guys have the power and the authority to do whatever you want. And it sickens me because I live there, adjacent. Just say the address. Why can't anybody say the address? I mean, is it a sacred thing or something? If it's not going to affect you, you have no idea what we're going through. I'm going crazy. I'm pulling out my hair. I look like Corey. And it's like Forest Lakes has become an entitlement. I'm entitled to do whatever I want. You have signs that say speed limit. You have signs not to drop stuff at the burn pile. Take them down because you're not following him anyway. It's like 5 people and Corey make decisions for my well-being. You have no idea what my well-being. You don't even know my name. I've never seen you come to my house and say, "What do you think about this?" None of you, except Corey, have come and talked to me. I'm a resident. I pay my fees and all this crap, and you guys just talk about money. That's all I've heard. Money. And I was really hoping Julie was going to be here because she's one of the people that signed all of this about the 160 acres of green belt, blah, 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 blah. And now she's wanting to sell it. The little sign that I made for all of you. Pass the mic, and this is a sign for all of you.
Can you read it for us? Because it's too far away.
I feel betrayed, ignored, and abandoned by the board and by Corey. And that's my final words.
Okay. Robin Kissel here, 240 Little Bear Drive. We need to educate Julie as to when I was on the board. you have no idea. I was not on the board when you're speaking of those times and when the minutes came out in 2020, September 8th, that deemed those lots 407 and 409 as greenbelt and not for sale by the previous board. In which case, I blame Corey for not having that information to pass on to any of the residents that might have been interested. I too was interested way back then and was told no. So Julie, you might want to get your facts squared up on that one because you're really misspeaking on that. It's green belt. It was deemed as green belt by the POA, not the HOA.
At a HOA.
Pardon?
I don't think they meant to talk, Robin.
Okay. It was the Property Owners Association back then before it got disbanded. That was back in 2005, I think. Or yeah, somewhere when it got disbanded. 2020 is when the board also deemed that as not sellable. The POA was not active then, and the board had said do not sell. Hey, I put my letter of interest in. I'm here to hear what you say, but I think make sure that you do have all your facts correct, okay, Julie? Because you really misspoke on that one. Anybody else? Right?
Can I say something?
One second.
Okay. Hi, I'm
One second.
Liz. I'm online.
Yeah, well, 1 second. We have one more person in the room, and then we'll get to the online conference.
Okay. Thank you.
Roy Westbrook, 194 Little Bear Drive. It is not a secret of what the adjacent property is. It's mine and Robin's properties that are the adjacent properties. I am the one who brought this fruitation to life because I noticed on the GIS that they looked like sellable properties, and I was told it was greenbelt, and I didn't want anybody building behind me. So I brought it up. I want to put this to rest a little bit. I have no intention of building a go-kart track or a dirt bike track back there for everybody to come to. I have the intent to build a little track back in the trees, not in the field, back in the trees, so that my daughter can ride her side-by-side that goes 20 miles an hour. Now, one of the reasons I want to do that is because right now she rides it out in front of our house. I have talked to multiple residents about it. They are okay with it, except for one resident in our neighborhood. And that resident told me if my daughter wanted to ride her side-by-side, I need to go do it in my backyard. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. I was told that. These properties, I get Robin's point of view of it was greenbelt at one time. And I think that her being told no, I think was a unjust thing by the board previous because they didn't do their homework to realize it could have been sold. I'm just looking for more space. I don't want I don't want anybody building behind me. Everybody I have talked to, neighbors up the street, the neighbor directly behind me that would be adjacent, that the driveway goes right by it. He does not seem to have a problem with me acquiring that property. He doesn't want anybody else building back there. There's talk of a vote on it. I think if we put a vote to it, I think one of the things on that voting should be a vote to just sell it to anybody, or a vote to sell it to the adjacent residents. In which case, if that was approved, then you only have the option to sell it to me and Robin, and not go out there and chase the highest bidder. Because we don't know if we put it out there. An investor could come in and get with planning at the county and subdivide it, and there'd be 15 homes back there. Well, I might as well sell. She might as well sell. well before you guys even sell the properties, because our property value goes down. In my opinion, the best case scenario of this, unless you guys are willing to not sell it, which I'm afraid of, in some respect, I respect it, but I'm afraid of it because I don't know what the next word's going to do. So then I feel like I got to be in here the next time and bring it up again, because then the board can go and sell it. I simply brought this up because I noticed that it did not say Greenbelt when I was researching my property lines, because I was putting in a fence. I'm building a new deck addition off the front of my house. So I was looking at that stuff to see, and I noticed it.
Any opportunity for other people.
Everybody gets 5 minutes that wants to speak, up to 20 minutes on this topic. Somebody does have the microphone right now.
So that's all I have.
Sweet, that's cool. I live on Pine Valley Road, and
Who are we listening to?
several times.
Your name and address, please.
Dog library. How's that? Everybody knows us.
Please state your name and where you live.
Dellery. Delera. Like celery with a D. Got it?
That's your first name, your last name?
Lindsay. Landsay.
Okay, thank you.
Like the scotch. Anything else?
That's part of the deal.
No.
Of
So just a quick recap. It doesn't matter what happens around us, right? We pay whatever. It doesn't matter, right? I live on Main Road. The speeding up top, squatters and them hoarding up the fire lane. So we're all good, right? I just want to make sure we all know on your live stream, it's a free for all. Right?
This is your time to speak, ma'am. So please go ahead, I guess.
No, just making sure. It doesn't matter what happens on our roads and the lack of your own rules that we all signed when we bought here. But I'm just making sure so I don't have to care anymore. Good? Right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is this first name? Sorry, I'm stepping on Aaron's toes, but I'm not. I think it's
Liz was trying to speak.
Yeah, may I? Yes?
Yeah, one second before you go. If anyone who has a question, do the hand raise emoji. We see Carrie, Amanda, and Kendall next. But go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah, okay, I didn't see where the hand raise was. Okay, I just have two questions.
Liz, could you give your name and address, please, first?
I'm sorry. Yes, Liz Otter, 41 Little Bear Lane. I live across the street from Roy and Robin and Corey. We got our little hood going on there. I have two questions quickly. If Roy hadn't brought this up, if this was a mute conversation, would the board have jumped on this? Oh, we've got vacant lots. Let's sell them. That's my question.
You want to?
Yes, I would have if we had known that we had lots here in Forest Lakes. I would have proposed that as well. Yes.
Okay, but that's my question. This happened simply because somebody brought it up. So if you hadn't known that those were available, this all wouldn't have happened. My second concern is, Julie, you said you've got some realtors lined up. we've got as many realtors as there are lawyers in Durango. Who is going to do the assessment of the value? This would be for either Roy or Robin or anybody who is thinking about purchasing. The 325,000 or whatever the figure was last month, that is completely wrong. So are the realtors going to come in and say, oh, it's this much? And then if that's not a month, is another realtor going to come in? Is the county going to come in and assess what the value is? Because even if you were to sell both, I don't think there's going to be enough money to fix the dam. And Roy, I appreciate you clarifying what your plans are. Thank you.
Okay. Gary, you want to go next?
Carrie Newman, 753 Forest Lakes Drive. I did not hear who spoke before Roy Westbrook and prior to him, Robin Kissel. We don't know who that person was, but she espoused some concerns that some residents in Forest Lakes have had for a long time, but not relevant to this discussion. Looking at the minutes from the last meeting on page 12, it says District Manager Corey presented a compiled list of district-owned properties and his assessment of each. Bullet point, 3 properties highlighted in green, recommended for potential sale with no significant encumbrances. Bullet point 2, 2 properties highlighted in yellow, not recommended for sale at this time. One is landlocked in Unit 3. The other is the hill parcel adjacent to the district exit. These could potentially be sold to neighboring property owners in extending their lots. Point number 1, nobody knew from these minutes where these properties were unless they attended previous board meetings and had a map of the lots up, which as a result of this discussion, I have been able to determine that the 3 in question with no encumbrances are lot 411 on Alpine Forest Drive and lot 407 and 409 off of Little Bear Drive down in the southwest corner. So now I know what the discussion is about. I also was at the last board meeting and one prior to that and understand that Roy Westbrook and Robin Kissel would like to make their own little kingdom in the southwest corner of Forest Lakes, and that's fine. But if we put it up to a vote, we should not give them first rights of purchase. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Amen.
Was it Amanda Stratton is next? Danny?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Okay, great. Amanda Stanton, 180 Little Bear Drive. We're the easement driveway off 180 Little Bear or off Little Bear. I just wanted to voice because Roy mentioned my husband, I think, but just to voice, yes, we would really like to avoid development on those lots. And I agree with putting it to a vote. I don't even know if we even have a say because we're an easement. But I just wanted to back up his statement that my husband and I would, love to keep buildings off of that. That's all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Kendall's S25.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kendall Westbrook. I'm Roy's wife of 194 Little Bear Drive. I just want to reiterate that our intentions were not for this to go to public sale, but to offer it to the 3 or 4 adjacent landowners. This was never our intention for it to get to this kind of discussion of which lots can be sold to which landowners. But I do have to express that since you guys are considering selling some of the lots to adjacent landowners, I strongly recommend that you guys also give us this right as well, along with Robin and along with Kayla and along with Miss Stanton. And I also want to just express that if you guys did bring this to the free market, Julie already said that you guys can't keep up with the current infrastructure and maintaining the water pipes and things like that. So if you guys did end up opening up to the free market, somebody, like Roy said, could put in 15 houses back there, and that's going to be 15 more sewer lines, 15 more water lines that you guys are going to have to end up taking care of in the future. So I just want to have those in your guys' consideration.
Yes, you know how we feel now.
It's one person at a time, whoever's jumping in there. You're not being respectful to other land or other residents. And that was Michael that said that.
Okay, any other public comments, either in person or online? Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't find my hand raise. This is Bonnie Salona, 1472 Pine Valley Road. I came in late, so I'm not sure what has been covered and has not been covered, but I want to offer a complaint, or no, a pro, a con, and a sorry. The roads guys are doing, that's the good thing. They're awesome. They're fantastic. I love them. The bad thing is the speeding is insane.
Bonnie, was this in relation to the selling of the district property, or was this a general comment? It was, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I came in late, so I just didn't know at what point I should come in. I'd come in later if you want. I just didn't know where you were at that point.
Speed
So I come
bumps
in
is,
later.
hey, the speed bumps are the next topic.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like you're relating to that. Would that be appropriate?
No, I was just complimenting and complaining about the roads. And I also, the only other thing I wanted to do is remind everybody about the community yard sale Saturday. Anybody wanting to, I'm not really participating. I'm helping with the names and addresses. But if anybody's interested, I'm more than happy to PM me and I can direct you if you're selling. Otherwise, spread the word because I know it's a late notice. I was in the hospital, so I just got out. So sorry for the late thing. And I'll sign out. I apologize for jumping in. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Bob. Okay. So I think we have community public comments. So back to board discussion from those. My initial thought, I think, from the comment on would we have sold if it wasn't brought to us, that was a question towards us. So the answer to me is no. We wouldn't have known they were there. But once we do know they're there,
Can't stop it.
well, to me, we have to balance the fiscal responsibility to our community and as well as the living in what should be here. But I don't know that that's that relevant to me, at least, because it's a Pandora's box, I guess. We're aware of them. I think we have to do something or not. But either one's going to be a decision now that we're aware.
I don't think that comment was germane to anything other than, well, I didn't even know what it's, we learned about something, we're discussing possibly acting on it. We can't do something about things we don't know about. So I would like to comment that if anything would create a firestorm that we could not survive as a community, it would be cutting a sweet deal for two neighbors to buy the property for any price without taking it to the open market. If it goes to the open market and you want it, buy it. I can't in any way justify going out of the way to sell it just to you. That's like the ultimate incorrect. So I wouldn't participate in that in any way, shape, or form, and I would probably fight that directly as an individual. You know, if the properties are going up for sale, they need to go up for sale, period, end of story. And then if you want to buy them, your option is to buy them for whatever the market will be. That's our responsibility to the residents who own them.
Yeah, I like to tag onto that. The free market means anybody can purchase it, and I have a feeling that people are getting the gist that maybe the two residents who want to purchase the property can't, and that's not the case. If it goes to the free market, it is open for sale, and anyone can buy it, meaning the adjacent properties. One of the properties is 1.82 acres. The other one is 3.58. So that in no way as a residential property could have 15 homes on it. So that's, kind of a big stretch. These would probably be sold. We'd have to look at them, see what the real estate people say. We would have to interview the real estate folks. And then they would also have to have appraisals, just like standard property. Anytime you go look at property, that same process is going to happen with whatever we decide. And that goes along with the property on Alpine Forest. It's 1 acre. So somebody could come in and purchase that 1 acre. The adjacent properties could do the same thing. They could bid out for it just like everybody else. So I'm tagging along with you, Jim, Lynn. I do agree with that. And I think putting this out to a vote is going to cost the district a lot of money because we know what happened with our other votes and how the county assessors has to get involved, and we have to have, what, Shauna, 2 or 3 people managing all of it. And it's more than just sending out ballots to everybody. And most of Forest Lakes is not affected by this. So as Shauna said, we get 50% on a regular vote. For something like this, you're probably going to have even less, maybe a third. So that's my stand on it. And I'm done with my comments.
We table this decision is.
Can we hear from Stephanie before?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize she had it.
If she did, I just
Yeah.
want.
Good point. Stephanie,
Sorry.
you want to chime in?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm certainly not a realtor, nor is Julie, but all you have to do is look in places like Dove Ranch where they have 7.5 houses per acre to get an idea of how many houses you could put on 8 acres almost. Just for a point of reference there. Um, I definitely think that none of this should be going up for sale without um, actually having an appraisal on the property to say, okay, what is this financial benefit to the metro, to all of the residents of Forest Lakes? Right now, it's all very speculative, knowing the financial benefit. If that's what this board is looking at is the value of this property if we sell it. I'm not for selling it. I think that our greenbelt areas, our open areas have value that we don't know of yet. Michael touched on that earlier. Um, uh, and Julie, I hear you saying you don't think that the people of the community should have a right to vote on it. I know that there's extra cost to that. I'm just going to reiterate that I think that they should have that right.
And one of the things that we had talked about was coming to the board to the meeting with real estate names so we could all assess them and say, okay, we're going to ask these three people or these three real estate folks, come out, look at the properties, give us their assessment. Yes, that would be their assessment, just as in any sale of anything. You interview them, they come out and tell you what they think the property could sell for. If they come and say the property is going to sell for 25,000, then you're right. You and Michael are right. We would not want to potentially sell because it's not of the market value time to be doing that. But none of us know. And that's why we were asking to bring these things to the board so we could discuss those, get some values from the professionals, and then, and that's outside of what Corey had already done. And then we could make our decision as to whether, well, okay, the market is good right now, so we could go ahead and sell it. Or no, it's not good right now. It's not a seller's market. We're just going to hang on to them for a while.
Yeah, and I hear you, Julie. I just really think if we're going to do that, we should have a professional appraiser give us an accurate number instead of a variety of realtors who actually make money on the value of a sale. And an appraiser just gets a flat fee for doing an appraisal, excuse me.
Yeah, that could work too. I mean, we need to have something, to base our decision off of.
Those numbers that I presented were done by a realtor, not me.
And not an appraiser.
And not an appraiser.
When we have the land, I'm assuming it's an appraised value, 51,000 for that's Alpine Forest.
Those are tax appraisals and
yeah,
seldom line up.
Isn't that evaluated at versus a realtor will come in and evaluate what it can sell at? Is it not? They're two different.
Typically, my house appraisal is nothing close to what I'm pretty sure it would sell for today.
Yeah,
it's tax appraisal. Even though it just went up stratospherically, it's nothing like what the market value is even today.
And there's also that if it does, let's say if we were to sell these properties and they do not be, or they're not as worth as much as we thought, I'm pretty sure that sounds like we're going to have a bidder in the room who will be happy about that, who lives there. I don't think it's going to, like, Roy wants to buy the properties. I think he's probably going to bid on them no matter what. So yes, I think it could change what we're able to fund, and maybe we put minimums on it, I guess, when we get in, if we were to approve in the exec session. But to me, if it sells for too low, that means the neighboring resident would want it and would likely be the one to buy it. So a lot of the concerns seem to go away with that, but not fully. But
my only point about that is if we sell these, just picking numbers out of the air, if we have property worth 300,000 and we choose to sell it for significantly less, we are in breach of our fiduciary responsibilities to the municipality, and I won't be part of that. And I don't think anybody would, but finding a way to get to realistic numbers, put it on the market and see who comes forward and makes offers on the property. Excuse me, but that's how it's done. And that shouldn't offend anyone. So I do feel that we're at an impasse, and I was about to make a motion to table. I won't be that formal. I think we should table this. We're nowhere near coming to a decision. And in the meantime, you guys are protected until we do come to a decision.
Table this, Jim, for to come to the next board meeting, and which is what we had thought, what I thought we're all going to do, is bring it to some real estate folks here and discuss those. I know there was all good discussion here, but as you said, we can't make a decision until we know what we can sell these for. Any property. No homeowner, no landowner is going to say, yeah, let's just put it on the market, and it could be a low market. You're going to want to get the best value that you can. So how can we do that? We table this till next month, and then the decisions need to be made to decide on what real estate companies.
I just want to say that, I mean, we keep talking about bringing realtors in who they're in the job of making money off of sales, which I get that, you guys want to make as, the biggest benefit financially speaking would be to sell it for the most amount possible. But I think if we're looking at getting an accurate valuation, I think we're going to have to bite the bullet and pay to have an appraiser give us an actual valuation instead of going through a whole bunch of process, having Corey then interview various realtors. Like we said, I mean, we could probably look at 75 realtors, and then each of us pick 3, and then we're down to looking at 15 people to interview, when we should just bite the bullet and pay for an appraisal if indeed we make the decision to sell. And I think we can't make that decision to sell until we can determine if the monetary value to Forest Lakes matches what would make a big difference.
So the cart and the horse is the appraisal, and the decision to sell is the cart. And that's what I heard you say in an interesting way that I expressed it. I don't think we can move forward without a formal appraisal, and that's no guarantee that we're going to sell. It's let's make an informed decision about whether or not we even bother to do anything like this after we hear what someone who's in the business of knowing this stuff tells us the properties are worth. That doesn't mean that's what they go on the market for either. They may go on the market they may be listed for significantly more. They may get bids, they may not get bids, but the appraisal, I don't know if there's a gold standard, but the appraisal is as close as we're going to get to a gold standard on setting value on these, and then being able to make a decision about whether we move forward. And that's still allowing for the fact that you and Stephanie are very reluctant to sell. So that's not even saying we're going to sell. We're just trying to move forward in some sort of methodology here.
But it seems like to accomplish that, we would need to make a motion, which I don't know if we can do, to inform ourselves in order to inform for the decision of the seller to the district property that to hire an appraiser. Is that a separate thing that we wouldn't be able to introduce till next month?
Lynn, could you speak up just a little bit? I'm struggling to hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Asking Corey if that is what's needed to proceed for some of the board members. Are we able to make a motion this month under that? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay. If the direction is that people want to hire an appraiser to understand what it's worth, and I think the market would tell us what it's worth. I think if it only sells for 50,000, that's more accurate than what an appraiser would tell us anyways, because that's what it would sell for. But I think that's a reasonable, so I'll make a motion to.
Can I?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, go on.
So I want to bring up something that Stephanie and then Jim kind of talked about, is potentially bringing this to the public. You know, all this discussion, we have a vote in less than a year with ballots already going out. And, you know, I think you're right that, you know, no matter who we talk to, we're still talking to a small subsection of people or residents. We usually talk to residents within our own little areas, and opening this up to the greater community, we would get the largest impression whether to sell, not sell, green space, no green space. And I think that's a good path forward that I would be on board for, is just turning less than a year, we're turning to the public and seeing the biggest number possible, what the public wants to do.
I like that. Do you agree that part of that informing the public would involve at least having an appraisal that says the appraiser says these properties are worth this, and we're talking about them using the money for this?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what you brought up, Shauna, as far as I know, anything that goes to the vote has to be written a certain way. It has to be described accurately. I default to legal on something like that. I want what needs to be included in that wording. I'm not saying that doesn't at all. I'm just saying on a vote, I don't know if that would be included. I know they try to limit. Are you in favor? Are you opposed? This is the wording.
That information would be included in that informational book that we're supposed to send out with anything on a ballot measure.
And my gut reaction is with Corey that would be a piece of information that would paint the clear picture of what the intent was.
And that's, I know, like, we've taken a couple hits today, but that's, I think, what we're all trying to do as board members is either represent or present to the public to the best of our abilities. And, you know, that's the voting, I think, is a good path forward, just to hear from enough people. Just like we've done with the safety committee and other things. The entrance paving is get as much feedback as possible.
You were about to make a motion. I think it's compatible with.
Yeah, I think if we want to make a motion do we need to have the ballot measure ready to go before we make a motion? If we need to make a motion,
I would hold off on the ballot measure because there's a process behind that. So the board will have to vote on the language. And yeah, so we're nowhere near that point.
Okay, so step one would be appraising, which we would have to do.
Just like an engineering step.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to appraise the 3 lots, and I remember seeing them both individually and combined for the 2 next to each other. If we can have it by next board meeting, so that we can make a decision on if we want to go to the public, if it's too low, what that is.
I'll second.
Yeah. All those in favor?
So I'm sorry, Lynn, I could not hear what you were saying. You're making a motion to do what?
To hire an appraiser.
Okay.
To appraise the value of the lots, because it sounds like we'll need to know that information either way. If we were to go to the public, it would be something we would need to know. And in order to make a fiduciary in order to appropriately represent people, we need to know what
Okay, so the motion was to
hire
hire an appraiser so we know, can make an informed decision on what our next steps are.
And he itemized the 3 lots. You might want to say that again.
Yeah. So looking at the lots individually, and then the realtor who we had looked at it suggested combining the 2 on Wilfair. Make it like just over 5 acres, I think.
If I can add to that with the addition of contacting the county clerk to find out the ballot responsibilities of getting it on the ballot.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. I don't know how to end that.
I would second that motion.
Okay.
And do you think it's clear enough to distill it into the minutes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Okay.
We're getting there.
So to summarize the motion, it's to hire an appraiser for to get the appraised value of the different lots and the different iterations as I talked about, and to investigate the cost associated with putting it on the ballot and whatever implications there are with that. So I made motion.
That's on the ballot, not just any old ballot.
Yeah. So Jim seconded that. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mike, aye.
Stephanie, aye.
Julie, aye. I think that's a good compromise.
It's unanimous and approved.
We have done that.
Yeah.
It's on other topics.
Yeah.
I think that would be an option too. You've had good responses on that. Okay. The next topic, speed bumps.
Yep. So we have received several requests from multiple residents about getting the speed bumps back out, and the board had made a motion that in order for us to put them back out, we have to come to the board with kind of a plan put together, and how we're going to notify residents that speed bumps are being deployed. Talking with Daryl on this, the way we would notify the residents is by putting them at the entrance and, speed bumps ahead or throughout the district. And as far as like providing a map of where the speed bumps are, we don't necessarily want to do that, and we don't want to keep them in a particular spot for an extended period of time. We would like to deploy them and then move them around, so you're forcing people to kind of stay the speed limit throughout the district without, they know where it's been here and this is where it's going to stay, so I'm going to do 40 until I get to it.
Yeah.
Or the guys that didn't really care and were still hitting the speed bumps at 40 miles an hour. I'd say it's kind of late in the game to get them out, but residents are asking for it.
It's starting to get dusty.
I mean, I feel like we did a survey on it last year. The results were relatively, they leaned more in favor than not. And the implementation was kind of the key differentiator in that. As long as I think we continue to have learnings from it, if someone requests it not being in front of their house, I think respecting that, we seem like we have volunteers in places to put them where people don't object to them. So as long as they follow that, I don't think they have any issues with. And I think it's following what the community's asked for.
No more discussion from me.
I think that's something we talked about before is you and Daryl have come to an understanding of where they're beneficial versus just a map rollout. And I think with community members being concerned about certain stretches, the implementation can definitely go back into those areas that you guys have identified.
The one thing I think I would add is it should be a regular whenever in spring to early summer, a regular activity instead of waiting for residents' requests. If it is something we're going to do, it should be a planned appropriately to have benefits.
Yeah, and we were kind of holding off on the speed bumps too with the creation of the road safety committee. And I think that's even kept, I can't speak for it because I don't go to those meetings, but I think it's come up in the road safety committee too about getting them deployed. Joey or Daryl was finally online, could correct me, or Carrie for that matter.
Yeah, Daryl's talked about it and made comments that you guys were looking at putting them out, and we feel that they're fine. Some road committee members would prefer not, but that's a 50-50. So just like the residents, 50-50 or 40-30, whatever. They have value, so.
I would hope support whatever motion we make, including what you said, which is get them out there as soon as possible in the spring. It's already past mid-July, and they're helpful from the moment they go out.
Yeah. Yeah, Lord, thoughts? We're open it to public. Stephanie, I don't know if you.
I think that getting them out is a good idea. I understand why we didn't get them out earlier this year with all the having a road safety committee and kind of waiting to see how things laid out. But I think that they were beneficial, and I do like the idea of, being cognizant of the people that do not want them in front of their houses.
Okay. Heading a minute to public comments. You see, is there anyone in the room first? Keep saying better.
Please don't put.
Can I say?
Oh, sorry, Julie.
Yeah, I just want to say that Corey and Daryl and team have a process or do get them up in the event of emergencies, and they have talked to the fire department about that as well. So, all of that has been considered as well.
I just asked personally, my phone's blowing up, my wife is stranded with a disabled vehicle. Can I either step out for a second? Because we have a family comes first, man. We have a phone. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Hope everything goes all right.
So opening the public comments and call your name and address.
Robert Savage, 101.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room with comments? Okay. Online, I see Carrie. Hand is raised.
Again, Carrie Newman, 753 Forest Lakes Drive, on the Road Safety Committee. And one of our newest committee members had suggested that even with or without speed bumps, that was Peter Cardwell, been a very valued member of the committee so far. With or without speed bumps, a suggestion was that we put up signs around the district saying something to the effect that only you can prevent speed bumps. It's kind of a warning. It's like, only you can prevent speed bumps. So, maybe that's something, I don't know. Daryl was there. He actually looked at some signs, but it may be something worth the board considering investing in some signs that would be up year round, that kind of give people a reminder that speed bumps may or may not be coming, irregardless of whether they do or not. I guess I'm kind of on the fence about speed bumps. I think there's other issues that the Road Safety Committee is pursuing with regard to speeding and general rules of the road. within Forest Lakes, but that seemed to me to be a pretty good idea. Uh, that's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And say slow down.
I didn't hear you.
The signs say slow down. The yellow and black signs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a point of information, they put up a radar feedback with a screen it, right next to our house today. The sheriff's department did that, and I'm quite pleased with that because I spent my dinner determining how fast people were going, and Darren would be very pleased to hear that my estimated speed was significantly higher than what the radar said. So if Daryl's listening or can relay that message, he whacked me up side of the head one night and said, your estimates are way off.
Yeah.
The sheriff's department deployed a sign?
So it was an official vehicle and everything.
Yeah, and to my surprise, when I went to check my mail, they actually had somebody pulled over.
I've seen 3 different vehicles pulled over.
Wow.
Today.
All right. Anyway, that's just an aside.
Okay.
So deploy or not
awesome. Yeah. I'll make a motion to deploy them at like a process that we follow outlined as well on it of how to ask for them not to be there, like in front of you, and again, deployment schedules, roughly, just general information to our residents on when we're going to see them, as well as guidance for you.
Okay. So when Daryl gets back from his training, we will sit down and figure out when he's going to deploy them, and then we'll push out a public notification.
Yeah.
That hey, speed bumps are going out. Be mindful.
Yeah.
And it's you and Daryl and whoever participates in that. It's your discretion where you put them in general and your willingness to be sensitive to people who don't want them near them is terrific.
Yeah.
And we
Excuse me.
I have to wait till.
I'm
sorry. 1 second, Bonnie, please. We won't deploy them until we get the signs posted at the front.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Daryl's on.
Yeah, I heard Daryl and then another fellow
Yeah, we don't have the signs right now, so we would have to order the signs, and then, of course, we'll have to take them down in the wintertime. I think we have a significant amount of list of emails for placement of those.
Okay. And I guess Bonnie, you're
Yeah. Hi, Bonnie Salona, 1472 Pine Valley Road. I noticed a while back, and I'm not really sure why they took them down, but Bayfield had like these little blinking lights over their speed signs, coming into Bayfield, leaving Bayfield. And it was kind of like oh, wow, I didn't know that. And it was kind of like a heads up to me looking down at the speedometer and going, so I don't know what happened to them, but I was just wondering whether that would be something that you could look into. I mean, anyways, just a suggestion on my part. Thank you.
I can answer the blinking light question. When they change new traffic patterns or change signs and speed limits, they're actually required by law that they have those flashing lights for an extended period of time. So people are going to the new signs. After a certain amount of time, you are supposed to remove them because they do create a distraction for drivers.
Yeah, and we have flags. That's probably what we would use. Flags or blinky lights are both the same.
Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, so again, I'll make a motion to put out speed bumps with basically a process guide you guys can put out.
Second.
Okay. Motion second. All those in favor? Lynn, aye.
Jim, aye.
Jim was the second motion, just in case Barb needs to hear that. Julie, aye.
Stephanie, I.
And Michael was absent for this vote.
Okay. Next, introduction of the strategic plan facilitator.
Yeah. She has just joined us in the chat. I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Shana Montrose. I'm with CPS HR Consulting. CPS HR really focuses on working with government agencies, whether that's county, state, local, or a special district like yourselves. With CPS HR, I do strategic planning. There's also another branch of the company that I work for where we do learning and development and organizational culture work. And I do a lot of training and coaching within that division. And so I will be working with you specifically on your strategic plan. And so this is really just my first opportunity to meet you. I'll be coming out at the end of September and joining you for a full day board retreat. And the outcome of that will be a strategic plan. And to kick things off, I thought I would ask anyone in the room or joining via video like myself, what the strategic planning process means to you.
Honestly, I'm not real sure. It's all I know is that we need to get the capital, what Daryl and the team and Mark and Corey need. Basically, in my mind, they were going to give us what they needed and then the strategic plan for how the district needs to run.
For me, it's the guidance from the board to try to represent the community on what we want the community, how we want the community to evolve, in the direct, giving a compass to Corey and team.
To me, it's hearing issues like those that Mark presented earlier. I sure hope you weren't on the call when Mark made his presentation about sewer planning and water planning, but he's talking about millions of dollars and enabling the board to intelligently go about figuring out how to achieve these goals. We're, on one hand, forced to achieve, and on the other hand, the community wants to achieve on their behalf. That's a big fact.
Yeah, yes and no. I wasn't on the call for Mark's presentation, but I have chatted with Mark, so I might know a little bit about what he shared with you. So thank you. I think when we put all of these ideas together, that really gives us a full picture of what we're doing here. What I heard you say was prioritization and direction, and not just what are the priorities, but how do we, I love this, intelligently achieve the goals? And how do we create priorities as representatives of the community? It's not just the priorities of the people in this room, but it's everyone who we have been elected to represent. The other piece that I would add is accountability. And that's part of the representation, that you are here to represent the community. And if you have a plan, then you can be held accountable to that plan. And it also protects you a little bit. You're in a precarious position where you're talking about millions of dollars and spending other people's money. And so to do this in a way that feels really intentional, and to say, well, this is the plan that we're responsible for implementing, it can be really helpful if someone comes back to you and says, well, I didn't know we were going to do this. Well, you can say it was in the strategic plan and that's been on the website for the past 3 years. So it's the accountability, but also this agreement of what everyone's working to achieve together. Any questions or comments about that?
No.
Okay, I think we're on the same page. I just reiterated what you said. Okay, so what is the benefit of engaging the community in the strategic planning process?
Collaboration with the residents.
Mm-hmm.
We get a random enough sample or a large enough sample actually understanding what they want.
I also think giving the members of our community the opportunity to more thoroughly understand the challenges with running basically a small municipality and the challenges we are all facing.
Yeah, there's the collaboration component, but also some compassion. I'm like, geez, guys, we can only do so much with what we've got. It's a great window into, wow, these people are working really hard for us. Yeah, great. So yeah, I mean, that's why these boards exist, is to represent the larger community. And there's a couple of different ways of going about doing that. And so what I have been discussing with Corey is actually trying to hit it from multiple sides so that we can say that we've been really responsible and that people had different ways to engage. And this is all within your control, and there may be some other things that you'd like to add to the process as well. But to get us started, we've talked about sending out a survey. We send it out to 2,000 people, and if you get 200 back, that's not a bad return rate for something like this. And if you get less than that, then the people who engage are the ones who get to have a voice. And the other thing that we talked about was engaging the board in having some more direct conversations. And so the advantage of doing both, this is called mixed methods, is that with the survey, you get the numbers without the detail. And with the, I'm going to call them interviews, but they're basically quick chats, you get a lot more detail and you get more nuance, and you have the opportunity to say, oh, why is that the thing that's the most important to you? And then when we put it together, it gives us more of a 360 picture. So I'm going to share my screen and share with you this idea that we're proposing to ask the board members to help collect some information from the community. So the idea is that each board member would interview 5 people by July 30th. So kind of short window, not too many people. That's a minimum. If you want to talk to more than that, that's fine. We would ask that you interview people outside of your household because you're already representing your household. At least one person you've never met, so that you are representing, to Lynn's point, the broader community and not just the folks who you have the most immediate access to. Someone who has a different view than you. That doesn't mean that you have to ask everyone what their political party is and make sure that they're from a different party, but just a different view. Maybe it's a different view on speed bumps. So someone who creates some diversity for you. And then you would write down each person's answers to the questions that I've got outlined below. Or you can do this by email and just shoot people these questions and ask them to write back to you, and then the responses are already written. And then we're going to ask you to prepare a summary of the common themes. So you talk to 5 people, and 3 out of 5 of them are really concerned with road safety. That means road safety is a theme. And you would send these themes and maybe a couple comments just explaining like why this was important or what you observed to Corey and myself. And my email address is here, and Corey's got it. And then we would have everyone share a little bit more about what you've learned at the retreat on September 25th. So I'm going to come back to how do you find people who you've never met before, because I imagine that's what people are wondering about. But first, let's just go into what the questions are. So we thought we'd keep it simple. We've got 4 or 5 questions here, depending on how you count. So the first question is, what is the number one thing that makes you proud to live here? This tells us what's important to preserve, what people value, and it's a nice opener. It's good to start with something positive. The second question is, if you were to leave in search of something else, what would you be looking for? So this tells us a little bit more about some of the gaps and also what people value. The third question is, what is the ideal population size for Forest Lake? Get a sense if people are looking for a larger community, a smaller community, or to keep it the same. And people will probably share a little bit more about the why behind that, which will further reveal what's important to them and what kind of community they want to live in. And then the last question is, if the special district staff had more resources, what is A, a new project that you'd like them to explore, and B, an existing service that you would like to see better resourced? And so by asking these questions, we're getting a sense of what the priorities are in the community. It is intentionally basic and high level. We don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed by this. However, if there's a question that you think is important, you're a board member, you can add any question you'd like. So I will pause for a moment and get reactions to the process and to the questions. And then we can talk about how you find people who you haven't met before.
Dana, I bet you've already done this and I just haven't noticed, but have you sent this to us as something like a Word document or PDF that we can blow up and make an interview form 5 times?
This is saved as a PDF document, and Corey's got it. And Corey, I can't remember if I sent it to you as a PDF or a Word document, but if you'd like a Word document so that people can edit it and add spaces or add a question to it, I can definitely get you an editable version, and then Corey can send it out to the group.
I can convert it to a Word doc.
Corey's got skills.
We all knew that.
What other questions are coming up for folks?
For me, it's a tight timeline due to where I am right now. July 30th, I would not be able to make that.
Okay. If everyone else can do it by July 30th, can we give Julie a couple extra weeks?
Sure. It'd be all right as well. I do have kids going in directions, so it's me. I'm trying to log on. They're not doing good. So
I'm sorry.
So I can be out remote.
This is Stephanie. I'm also working remotely through this week, so having 4 days, including when I get home on the weekend, is I don't think it's realistic.
Awesome.
To get due by the 30th.
Oh, you guys are amazing. It is so much better to hear that a deadline is not realistic on the day of the assignment rather than the date of the deadline. Let's just move it back. this is your process. You own this. Let's make it work for you. How about October 14th? I'm sorry, August 14th. I don't know where October came.
I was like, that's great. That's a long time.
That's too long.
I think August 14th is doable for me. This is Stephanie.
How's that for you,
Me
Julie?
too.
Yeah?
Julie, yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, fantastic. So revised to August 14th. What else is coming up?
Nothing for me.
It's going to be tough I'll be honest with you, it's going to be tough to interview 5 people that I don't know. I'm not real sure. There's a lot of neighbors that don't like people coming to their doors.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what the guideline says is at least one person you don't know. So it could be 4 people you know and 1 who you don't, especially if the people you know have different views from you. And what I think we can avoid is like the clipboard image of like knocking on doors with your clipboard or standing outside the place where people get their mail with your clipboard. For an introvert, that sounds kind of miserable. You all know different people. So if you each were to make a list of 5 people who you want to talk to, you could like swap lists with someone. You could also start with one person who you do know and say, hey, do you know someone else who might be interested in answering these questions? Somebody who I don't know, could you give me their name? And so there are ways to find people you don't know that doesn't feel like cold calling.
Okay.
What ideas do you have that feel like it would make it a little bit more comfortable to reach out to some people you don't know?
From my standpoint, we could pick a few emails at random and shoot them an email from the district asking if they are wanting to participate in this.
Very good idea.
Yeah, there you go. If you pick a random sample of 100 people and 10 of them write you back, that's great. And then you have people who are willing and you've got a random sample, so that ensures that it's not just the people who know someone on the board who get a voice, but a broader sample. Yeah, I think that sounds good.
What do you think of attempting to distill a list of people who regularly show up at meetings?
I have mixed feelings about that. I think the people who regularly show up are going to be low-hanging fruit. They're going to say yes, which is great. And those are probably a lot of the ideas that we've already heard. But if we also have the survey go out, and the survey covers other people who don't usually show up to meetings, then I think that's fine. People have kind of self-identified as the ones who want to share their opinions.
Well, another option would be the residents that have written to board members for, an answer on something. Could be somebody like that.
Yeah, so they've engaged on one specific issue and at least took the time to reach out, and now you can have a broader conversation with them and learn how they feel about maybe some other issues as well. I love that idea. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like you've all got some ideas that are more comfortable than the clipboard method. It's just 5 people. Any other questions or ideas?
appears.
Yeah. Was that you, Corey?
Yes, it doesn't appear so.
Doesn't appear so. Okay, great. Well, I think this, really sends a message in your community that board members see their role as representing the larger community and that they want to listen and hear. I understand that you've got an election coming up next spring, and so by doing this, it may help just drum up some interest in what the board is doing and what the board is about. And I look forward to hearing the responses from you all. And I will let you get back to the rest of your agenda.
Hey, should I add one question? Because you said as a next approach, are we going to do a survey or something based upon the distilled results of those 25, 35-ish people?
We're going to do both simultaneously. So the survey is the questions that are on the survey are really going to evolve from the interviews that I'm doing with all of you. And then we'll launch the survey while you guys are doing the interviews. And then I will pull it all together and present it to you at the board retreat. And that way, when we start prioritizing, we'll have that voice of the community as an element to consider during the prioritization.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, if there's nothing else, you can kick me off. Oh, Carrie raised a hand.
Hello again. I guess it's time for public comment. Before you leave, Shayna, thank you for being a part of this. I would say that near the top of the list of the strategic plan should be a way to facilitate better community engagement, which this community struggles with. In your suggestion of 5 board members reaching out to 5 individuals would be a total of 25 people. That is not a sample. We need a better way to find out what people really think. Now, suffice to say that in this community, there are a lot of people that they just live here. That's all they care about. They go to work, they come home, and they like having their pine trees and their squirrels and all of that. They don't really care about anything else. But there are a lot of people in this community that care a lot about a lot. I would say that the best forum that this community has at this point is Neighborly Forest Lakes on Facebook. And I would highly recommend that you ask to become a member of that. The Road Safety Committee is looking at other avenues for community engagement, but right now, the Neighborly Forest Lakes Facebook page is probably the best option that we have. So my point is that community engagement is the only thing that's going to make the strategic plan successful. Another thing that should be at the top of the list of the strategic plan is a way to estimate the capacity of this community, given that there's still a lot of room for people to move here, to develop and move here. And that's something that the strategic plan needs to address. When there's no more room, how can Metro District support that? Because there's still a long ways to go. That's all I have to say, and thank you again, Shayna.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie.
Any public comments from people in the room? Okay. I don't think there's a board decision on that. So
No decision.
thank you, Shayna, for stopping by. I look forward to working with you going forward.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shayna.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
We were going to pick a date.
That's further down. Pardon? That's further down on the agenda. That was just a meet and greet introduction.
Yeah. Okay. So next, resident request to be on Robert Savage with question on ATVs on district roads.
Yeah, Robert said again, 110 Pine Ridge Drive. If you're not familiar, it's extension of Hilltop on the way to Unit 3, off into National Forest, San Juan National Forest area. Over the last 2 years, especially this year, you've seen a significant increase in off-road vehicles, not only on district roads, but especially going up where I live. Aren't a lot of residents in Hilltop. There's quite a few, but so my question and my chief, what I'm trying to achieve here is information. Who has jurisdiction over these roads? Are we allowed? There are signs, 3 signs. I can find 3. No ATVs. I don't know if this is a holdover from the old POA or if it's part of the road barrels responsibility. I don't know. So there are no ATVs allowed, although you see ATVs, you see off-road motorcycles, a lot of teenagers now. You've seen probably a 300% in the evening. We get a lot of side-by-sides going up there. I take walks up there and I have stopped people, friendly conversation like, hey, where do you go? Some of them just riding in the 3, some go out. If they're narrow enough, they can go out to the San Juan Forest. A few of them head up to the state lease land, but that's more off of Pinewood Drive. Cuts off the border Pine Road. So my question here is, we also see on Facebook a lot of motorcycle complaints, a lot of off-road stuff. Who has jurisdiction? Has there been any other complaints about this? Is this something that could potentially be addressed? If it's completely legal, they can do it. Okay, we live with it. I know I get the argument, we live in the country, not the city and stuff, but it is a community, neighborhood. And some of these people are not courteous to the neighbors as they go ripping by and up the corners, drifting around the corner right from my house.
Yeah, I've almost been hit by a dirt bike going home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because people do. We walk our dogs, up and down these roads. They're blind corners.
So, as far as who has jurisdiction over the roads, units 1, 2, and 4 are dedicated to public use. So that falls under traffic enforcement through the sheriff's office. 5, Unit 3 and 5 are considered privately owned roads by the district. And the district, we can't do law enforcement, so we can say no ATVs and you can give us the bird. Essentially. I was under the impression we started the process with Unit 5 a few years ago to get it dedicated to public use so we can start receiving HUD funds, which we're not receiving how we use tax funds for that road. So straight from the sheriff's office, they cannot enforce any traffic infringement in Unit 5 or in Unit 3. I couldn't even get them to come to tow 2 abandoned vehicles out of Unit 3. And tow companies wouldn't do it because it's considered private property. So that answers some of your questions. As far as the policy for people getting to the Grassy Mountain recreation site, there is no policy to it. The gentleman leased the property from the state and it started that rent company, whatever you want to call his organization, and
that hasn't been. That's Pinewood Drive, and that's where the kind of accident.
And they also have where the Grassy Mountain project is actually happening at. Yeah. That's another access to that recreational site.
Two people I spoke to just say actually trailer their UT, their side by side, park it at a daughter's house and then ride up. So it's like, you know, we got outside, like, granted, daughter lives here, so you can consider it use of the road.
As far as you know, trying to manage who's coming through our district, I have no idea how we would be able to do that with the amount of traffic that comes in and out here without making it a gated community. I don't know if the board has anything to say.
So ATV use on roads is illegal, the Colorado law, correct?
Yeah.
But we don't have any enforcement.
We can't enforce it.
We don't have enough deputies out here to sit around.
I was definitely surprised this afternoon when I went to go check my mail. It was passing people over, stopping for the stop sign, and they actually pulled somebody over. I assume for speeding. I don't know. But
yeah, there was 2 blacked out sheriff's vehicles roaming the lower section.
So
I saw them.
Very pleasantly surprised because I've been working really hard and kind of picking a fight with the county about getting some enforcement out here. Yeah, and I was happy to at least see that. How long it stays, I don't know, but at least there was some presence today.
Well, I think one thing that Robert has touched on, the signage, the little 4x4 or 6x6 little tiny signs that say no ATV or no OHV or whatever they say, they're not effective because you drive by them and you don't even see them. I know Daryl has talked about on the road safety committee potentially changing those out for larger signs, because the people that are coming in here probably don't know. You do have residents that abuse it as well. They have to be road legal and licensed as in, I believe, is what we talked about in the road safety committee. But also that we've heard about people driving their ATVs and they've got their kids on the back and they're riding all over and up and down main streets and things like that. And, you know, how do we get the cops to patrol around all of the streets? And that is one thing that they should be ticketing for, is something like that as well. But, you know, that's another subject that kind of tags on to what Robert was talking about.
Yep.
I think my view, advice, we don't force lakes, so this group, we cannot enforce anything.
Right.
If I think more people need to go to the sheriff, need to ask for support here. And from what they've told us, the more people who do, that's how they allocate resources. So if you see one, it's not going to do anything for that person. I'm not saying, but you can call the cops on them. And the sheriff's office does record who's calling and how much and where. So the more that people do that, when they see illegal activity, or lobbying the sheriff's department to allow us to potentially hire one of our, like a shared service, which we've tried before and they declined. If without a dedicated resource, without something to assist it, we just need more pressure put on the potential people who could help, which is the sheriff's office. And again, there's multiple potential avenues if enough issues are raised, I think, that has been talked about before.
Well, what I hear, I was fairly certain we couldn't enforce anything, but I guess maybe the road safety committee might be able to. Sounds like you're talking about already, making people aware. With much like, I mean, you're right; those signs are only like this big, and again, there's only 3 of them on one section. Getting some making people aware that this is not an off-road vehicle area. These are public use roads. Maybe that's an avenue. So just hopefully they can take it up or address it, because it's dangerous up there. Like you say, you almost been hit. There's 2 blind corners up where I am, and they come ripping the down. We've had 2 new residents move in and walk their dog. Cringe every time I see this. So that's all I have, really, and I appreciate everybody's time.
Well, I appreciate you hanging in there so long.
The road safety committee is looking at getting petitions of the residents signed and presenting them to the sheriff to get more coverage of your. So we're hoping that the voices of as many people we can get sign these. And they can sign it yes or no. Many people don't want coverage. So we'll see that. One of the committee members is looking into petitions and what we need to do that, and then going straight to the sheriff. So we're trying. But thank you for bringing that, because we don't know what happens there.
It's up there, but it's also, I see on Facebook all the time.
It's definitely happening.
Yeah.
Any other comments in the room? Now, if there's one online. M, raise your hand.
That's Michael.
Okay, Michael.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so I just want to touch on, reiterate the fact that residents need to contact the sheriff's department. When you take actions into your own hands, it could create a lot of legal issues. Detainment of an individual that you're trying to question why they're doing something can put you in legal trouble. When you see an issue, please reach out to their in your own hand. Don't try to stop individuals. Conversations are fine, but detainment is illegal.
Any other public comments? Going once, going twice.
Okay. Next, resident Charissa Hannigan had concerns about the evacuation road and loop road condition after a storm.
That's me. For sake of time, I'm really concerned about the forest floor conditions, the way the mitigation project has kind of stopped and the forest looks awful. 3 years ago, our evacuation road was like butter, I said. It was smooth, it had, didn't have ruts, didn't have muddy areas. And then those big, huge machines came in and just tore up the roads. And this last project, they went further down the road, but they also either made ruts or something. One day I walked there and it was, had been plowed. What do you call it? Scraped. You know, so all of our gravel that we talked about cost money, and the stonework and the smashing it down so it was flat was destroyed. So I'm concerned it's kind of like a twofold, the mitigation road and then the condition of how they left our forest. We have cats there. You cannot walk on them. There's roots, bushes turned over, fluffy dirt, so it's, you know, not the regular path. It's really a mess. And I love you, Paul. but I know. Yeah. And then my second point was, so I want to know their schedule on when it's going to look a lot better. The ditch road, the ditch that brings water to the lake, not only for recreation, but for helicopters dipping in and possibly saving Forest Lakes homes. We've seen that a couple times the past couple years. We have to clear that. And after their mitigation, huge logs, a whole tree rolled into it. There's no way the water is going to flow. My second point was the culverts or lack of in the driveways that are filled are causing damage to our loop road. This last 2 storms ago, where we had just a downpour, I don't know if everyone gets it, they're very isolated sometimes. Just we had mud puddles, debris all over them, whether it's needles, pine cones, whatever's in the ditch, just flows right over. I know it's a pain, and we've talked about this for years. Something needs to be done to not tear up the hard work the guys are doing on our loop road, because there is no drainage, and it goes into the oncoming traffic instead of underneath people's driveway. So I believe that is the 2 things that I wanted to talk about.
Okay. So the evacuation route is not the way it was. There are plans in the works to get it back to where it is, but we are waiting to do that until we have phase 4 coming on, and then once phase 4 is complete, the Forest Service is actually going to come in and do what's called a widening project, and a lot of that stuff that is sitting on the floor, the bed, they're actually going to come in and burn that out.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a little spiel.
Okay.
If I could
Yeah.
have a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You just cool that.
Yeah.
A couple minutes.
1 second.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. And Paul and I did walk it the other day after we had our little meeting about your email, and his crew is going to remove that big tree that is rolled in there, and then I pulled out a couple trees that were light enough for me to move. I didn't try that big one. Not going to happen. But there is a process, and we're already getting some of that cleaned up, and the road is going to get fixed. And currently, it is very much passable.
The first curve where they did that, it is mud. If you get any kind of rain, it is mud right there. I'm just saying, go sometime after a rain, and then tell me that. Okay. All right.
We'll take that corner you're talking about.
Pine Cone Gate, as it starts to curve.
Oh, you're talking about so that's going to be a topic for another discussion, because we don't believe that the way that gate is set up right now is very conducive to get even I struggle to get my truck through that. So
should not be escaped.
So we're talking about, and this is going to come to a board meeting at a later time, but closing that exit down and just having the one that's on the lower part there. That way you don't have people trying to do this number.
Right. Because right there, it's a low area.
Yeah.
And
so that portion we're actually talking about just eliminating it altogether.
Okay.
It really doesn't make sense the way it's set up.
Okay.
Paul, my turn. Yeah, he's fine top. So I got a little. First of all, I just want to, and I've been telling Corey how thankful we are, and how community should be very, very thankful that we've got the opportunity to get 100% PLM grant to go back in there and do that kind of thing. It's extremely, extremely valuable to the community. So the intent of that grant, those fuel reduction projects, is to slow down aggressive fire behavior, getting into the subdivision, slamming the subdivision. By this fuel reduction project, it's gonna make fire behavior much more manageable. We'll be able to get crews in there, safely fight fire, by opening up the canopies, by getting that tree spacing. When we do have tanker drops or water drops, helicopters, we'll actually get penetration and we'll hit the soils. It'll get to those ground fuels. So very, very helpful for us to get in there and do that thing. Not only that, but also by creating that tree spacing in there, it makes the existing trees more healthy. They're getting more nutrients, more
more water. Okay, that's going to help them be more resistant to beetle kill. So again, very, very, very good stuff. Our phase 1 was 12.7 acres, phase 2, 15 acres, phase 3 was 28 acres. Our proposed next phase is 24 acres. So we're gonna jump the other side of the road. We've been staying on the inside of the escape route road between the residents and the escape route road. Now, BLM is so pleased with the work back in there. They said, we'll just fund it. We'll just pay. Just keep going in here. Don't be jumping around to other locations in your district, which we planned. That's what we had planned to do. They're like, just keep working what you're doing. Do what you're doing. You're doing it right here. You've got this project going on, the escape route road, and you got the Grass Mountain project going on, which Andy's doing up on top. So I don't have much to do with that. Actually, I have nothing to do with that. That's being managed by the National Forest Foundation on state land, forest, and BLM. So we're trying to create this ring around Forest Lakes to keep what's happening to these other areas in Colorado. We've lost 300,000 acres in Colorado to date. 300,000 acres, 469 structures. 2026, 224 homes. 2026. And these are areas that did not have a mitigation plan. So this is a big deal. It may look aesthetically troubling right now.
Terrible.
We're not done. We're not done in there. We've got monster. We've got piles we haven't been able to get to and clean up because of we need those weather windows. You need that snow this winter. Put fire on the ground. So it looks like we might get that. If we get the fire on the ground, we're going to torch. We're going to burn like crazy. All that stuff is back there. And yeah, what Corey said is true. The National United States Forest Service, the Columbine Ranger District, talking to Nate, good friend, their intent is to go in there 2027, and once we're out of there and we've made a mess, they're going to come in and burn it. So that'll clean up that forest floor of all that small debris that troubles, that makes it maybe look aesthetically not great. Our goal is, for those of you that have been out hiking out there at Salls Creek, Salls Creek is the model property. That's the model forest area out there. It looks fantastic. That's what a healthy forest looks like. That's what we're trying to achieve. At least on my side of the project over here, the Escape Route Road, is to look as magnificent and healthy, and as healthy as Salls Creek does. So we're not done yet. Obviously, it does look a little rough. We did put some guys down there this spring. I had like 10 days before they got picked up on fires. We had 10 days to do some burning down there and clean it up. And I think it looks better than what it did. There's still a bit of work to do. There's one tree that Corey and we saw when we walked a couple days ago, and we'll get that out of there. And that needs to be we'll buff that up, and so it's a work in progress. Lastly, there's on that.
It was a nice path. It was close. It was above the ditch trail. It was right behind the houses. You could look at Wi-Fi in case there was an emergency. And it's just all torn up. You cannot walk there. It's just you cannot. No. You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah.
So when we talk about maybe a trail to be able to see more versus losing a subdivision, we got to kind of find those priorities a little bit. Okay. We're making this forest healthy. No. I get the trail. No more walking. But we got to think about maybe put a community committee together, go up with the race, and open that back up.
Yeah. So we're gonna get, there's money set aside to fix the evacuation road.
So keep in mind, Upper Pine paid for the first gravel, that first gravel pass. Upper Pine paid the first time. Then we went in and we tore it up with equipment. I talked to BLM John. He approved, I think it was $6,300. Go back there and put more gravel in there. Once we're done, let's finish first before we go back in there and re-improve that road.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want someone's benefiting by the lumber, okay?
Absolutely.
And I don't want us to be on the bad end of it.
You're getting a return on investment like crazy. Think about it. We're getting a reduced rate for Andy going in there. He's a local logger, so it's the local business doing the logging. He's giving us a lower rate to do it because he's taking some of that wood and selling it as building products. He does sell as firewood. He donates some to the church, to the tribe, and there's another business that. So
there's a lot of waste. There's trees down that could be used, and they're just laying there. So, and there's like a dead tree there. They didn't take that down because it's not.
I can answer the dead tree portion. There's actually a law that requires a certain amount of dead trees to be left for wildlife.
Wow. Okay. I see this.
Habitat trees.
I see that in South Creek. Yes, they have habitat trees. Okay. All right.
That's what critters.
Oh, can I ask a question? My husband sent me a video of all the slash pile that it's back there, and it is enormous. If we can't burn that until we get snow, that is a huge fire hazard. I mean, that's blocks and blocks of lengthwise of slash pile that's 50 feet high.
It's still sitting there.
And Julie, to speak to that slash pile, when we open it up for the residents to go get that stuff that's parked back there, I have a feeling a lot of the residents that are getting firewood are going to pick through that pile and pull out some of those big logs that honestly still look like could be used for firewood.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. The waste.
Yeah, it's going to be opened up. We're just waiting for some available time for Daryl Screw or even Mark Screw, or even if I got to go sit out there with a fire extinguisher and essentially babysit, because not everybody follows the rules and they don't bring a fire extinguisher and a shovel like you're supposed to when you're cutting firewood.
But Corey, that is a slash pile like what we have, only 8 to 10 times bigger. It's not wood that residents should be going in there and pulling out of there. That's a liability on Forest Lakes land for them to be driving back there and trying picking through that slash pile. This isn't a wood pile. This is a slash pile.
I'm fully aware of what the pile is, and that's kind of when we opened it up last year. People were, granted, the slash piles weren't necessarily as big as they are now. People were picking through the slash pile.
So the intent is absolutely to burn that, but I've got to have snow that's going to stick on the ground before I force that to maintain public safety for sure. And when I do have snow on the ground, it'll be fine. It'll be great. It'll burn for several days, if not a week. That big one's going to be that's going to take a little time, and I need snow on the ground. So just like anything, just like the prescribed fire that the Forest Service wants to do, they can say 2027, but everything's timed based on weather windows, and there's a lot of calculations that go into that to maintain public safety. So, and I swear, I really hope that we get stuff this year, because and that thing's going to go away. And most of those will go away.
Okay.
So yeah, I just hope everybody just focuses on the greater good on this thing. It's such a gift for Forest Lakes residents to have 100% is paid for. There's no match like Corey was talking about earlier. This is not a match. This is 100%, and this really helps improve the safety to the community here. So we're pretty stoked about it, and I hope you guys are too.
Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Okay. As far as the culvert school, Carissa,
Yeah.
we do have it in our policy that if the district has to go out and clean or fix a culvert, we can charge that back to the homeowner. We have not started that process because the district-owned culverts were in disrepair. So really kind of turned us into a hypocrite. Dale's crew last year and this year has really been focusing on fixing our stormwater issues. And we're finally at to the point where we can start enforcing that section of our regulations and code. With that, we actually we have to prepare some letters. So there'll be a first notification. Hey, you have 90 days, 80 days, whatever we come to. Send that to them. And then the second one will be a type of time frame. Hey, now you have 30 days. And then the third one is, hey, we're coming out on such and such date. Either it's going to be a district or a contractor that we hire, and it's going to do that. That cost is going to be assessed to your bill. So
maybe in the letter you could say
we don't have time to do it though.
Contractors you can use. I mean, help these people along.
And these letters haven't been developed yet, so we're not to that point of any type of enforcement. This is something that my staff and I still have to sit down and this is what we want to do. This, here's some companies. Do we want to give them 90 days? Do we want to give them 120 days? Details still have to be discussed before we go to that next step.
Who penned the letter on the emergency route closed sign?
That was us.
That was very well written. Yeah.
Oh, the letter on the website. That's the word I was trying to look for. Yeah, that was Corey.
Thank you.
I know we've talked. I would like to discuss that as the board before implementation on the culvert side, because as I've told Corey one-on-one, I think there are a number of culverts that the district has facilitated in filling very quickly because of our other issues, but we can talk about that whenever you guys are ready to start proceeding on that.
Okay. Does that address your concerns?
Yes, thank you very much.
Any excuse?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I need to.
This will be real quick.
Okay. Okay, so you can get to.
So we have two potential dates for the board retreat. The 25th or the 18th of September. No. The 18th or just 25th. Daryl and I are going to be traveling back from the annual SDA conference on the 17th, which doesn't give us a whole lot of time to get our stuff prepared for the retreat. So my recommendation is the 25th of September. That's kind of what the steering committee is planning on. Does that date work for the board, or does the board want to proceed on for the 18th?
25th fits my calendar fine, and it also addresses the fact that we push back the interviews by an extended period, and it gives her a little more time to get her work done.
25th works for me also.
25th works. The 18th would work better for me. But it needs to. So if both of them work, I don't think she needs that long to get ready. Like, no, I don't think that. If she told us the 18th would work, then Yeah, I would prefer that, but I can do the 25th.
And if one board member can't make the 25th, it unfortunately that's you get caught up in what is done in that retreat. It would be beneficial for the entire board to be there.
Yeah.
Now, if two board members can't make the 25th work, I'll say we need to do the 18th.
I can do either. It doesn't matter.
Same here. Michael, can you hear us?
So I think I can hear you guys good enough to determine that the 25th should work. It really is, from a participant standpoint, difficult to hear a lot of what's being discussed, but the board retreat on the 25th should work for me.
It should
And
also
how
work.
Stephanie?
Hello?
Sorry, somebody else was talking, so I stopped. Yes, I can do either the 18th or the 25th, I believe.
So Michael heard me once. Michael, what about the 18th?
Michael said the 25th.
Okay.
Was I just asked a question? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. You said the 25th works for you. Does the 18th work for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, this for me, like it really is kind of far out, but I believe 18th or the 25th, if I'm answering the question right.
So Carol and I can make the 18th work, but I would prefer the 25th. But if the 18th works the best for the board, then so be it.
Lynn, did you need the 18th?
18th works for me. The 25th I can make work. I just have to change things. Because I think I can make it work. So that was why I said if both of them work for everyone, the 18th worked better. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
18th it is.
the 18th it is. All right. And now you need to pause the regular meeting, quick question break, and then call the executive session into order.
Okay.
After the Russian break.
So, but end the meeting now.
Pause it. Yeah, ending the meeting.
Okay, so this is Lynn at 9:22. We're gonna pause PM. We're gonna pause the meeting for a 5-minute bio break.
And then executive session.
So,
Yeah, committees. Well, we'll do the committee after that, yeah.
Okay.
After well, no, I meant after the Russian break. Need to
Does Mark doesn't need to stay, does he? For the executive session or anything after that?
No, staff will be released when we go into executive session. Mark will be released when we go into executive. So I said, that's some more, you know. I heard that. No, I think that staff.
I am having a really hard time hearing anybody. It's very garbled.
Hey, Stephanie, I had to put on closed captioning. If you scroll over to the far right, closed captioning's on there. And you can turn that on. I had to put that on earlier.
Okay. Let's see if I can find it.
Noise removal.
I think too, it sometimes these microphones, if they're not if your shirt's over it or if your hair's in the way, and mine, Lynn's beard, like those sorts of things.
Oh, we'll have to double check them. I'm pretty sure that's got to go with the minutes because it was given to the board.
I think it at least needs to be recorded. I don't know if
It was read.
yeah, I don't know if the paper itself has to be, but
I'm not sure what the rules on that are. And then, Julie and Stephanie, for the executive session, what we're gonna do is, use the same link, and she got kicked out, or what's going on here?
I'm here.
Julie, I think Julie got.
Oh, okay.
Well, I had to log her back in. We'll use the same link. We'll just kick everybody out to the waiting room, and then we will readmit you and Julie.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry, I was about to be dancing. I didn't.
Yeah, I think Jim must have done that one too. But then we didn't go turn on any faucets. We didn't stop raining.
Yeah.
I wish it didn't stop raining. I wish we got some more. Hungry. Okay.
It's rough being on Eastern time right now.
There's 11:30 there. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I have to plan my trips better.
Could have brought a sandwich.
I was just saying I was hungry myself. Yeah.
Okay. This is when we're going to restart the meeting at 9:28 p.m. Do we need to do roll call for the board members? I think Stephanie, Michael, and Julie are all there.
Yeah. Are we doing the advisory committee reports next?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This is Michael. I'm here.
I'm here also.
Perfect. Okay, so the first committee, the budget committee. Yeah.
No report yet.
Okay. Recreation committee, Stephanie or Michael?
Nothing at this time from Michael.
Same from Stephanie.
For the personnel committee, we'll go over it in the executive session. Then nothing else to report. Road safety committee. Julie?
Nothing to report at this time. We had a meeting right before I was leaving, so I don't have anything to report.
Okay. And then last, if anyone has any requests for future agenda items.
No.
Nothing tonight.
No.
Okay.
Nothing from me.
Okay. And nothing from so with that, do I close the meeting?
Yeah,
Or-
no, so this is where, because you're not adjourning the meeting yet, you gotta come out and discuss
Okay.
or make the decision outside of the executive session. So.
Okay, so we're pausing.
You'll pause it, then
to
you
go into executive session.
read that bullet point that's there.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to.
Okay. I make a motion, this is Lynn, I make a motion to go into the executive session pursuant to 24-6-4024F CRS for discussion of a personnel matter involving the performance evaluation of the district manager.
And then you'll need a second and a vote. All second.
Okay. All those in favor? This is Lynn, aye.
Jim, I.
Michael,
Julie,
I.
I.
Stephanie, I.
It is unanimous.
Okay, so I will give me a second to get. I don't need to report these down. How do you get them out without making it to where they can't rejoin?
You can't you just put them in the waiting room?
I don't. Oh, right there it is. Thank you. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
The box.
And don't forget to record. You can put me in the waiting room too, or I'm actually just going to leave because you're recording on your computer.
Yeah.
And then you can finish what I need for minutes purposes. Okay. And don't forget to start recording since we're not on the video anymore, if that makes sense.
Yep. Okay. Good night.
Adios.
Okay. This is Lynn. We just came back from the executive session that had board members Jim, Michael, Lynn, Julie, and Stephanie. Where
no decisions
were made
in executive session.
In the executive session, we only discussed performance. And it's 9:53. I needed to add a time to that. So with that, move on to the final item on the agenda, which is the decision to on district manager's performance evaluation to give him his merit for the year. I don't know what we need to disclose from that publicly.
You can disclose what it is.
Okay. So we from the meeting, the personnel committee is recommending a 2% increase, aligning with the other with Corey's contract and the other merit components. Salary increases for the year that's being used throughout the district. This would increase his pay from $129,813.06 to $132,409.32. Do we discuss, since we already discussed that, I guess I'll make a motion to enact that salary adjustment.
Discussion, is there any place in, this is just a legit question, is there any place to also make comments about the performance review itself?
That's up to
I think
board.
we're not. I thought we weren't supposed to.
Well, yeah, no, you're not supposed to because it was a closed session.
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk good or bad performance evaluation, like employee confidentiality stuff normally outside of. Pay is public; anyone can request it. So that's why.
Thank you for answering that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
With the motion, Lynn, can you please make the to the contract also for the hours?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll make a motion to make the 2% adjustment with the numbers already stated and an adjustment to Corey's contract to align his hours with the standard staff hour setup for the salary employees.
Yeah, thank you. This is Julie. I'll second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Jim, aye.
Glenn, aye.
Stephanie, I.
Julie, aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Julie and I will sign that with you, I think. So you have a document for your file. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 9:56 p.m.
Good night, all.
Thank
Good
you.
night. The recording stopped.